Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and this is the Sons of Phoenix rising from the ashes of our pop culture. And we've got an incredible panel for you guys tonight. And let's get started with introducing them all. Ivan Ortega, the man himself with the Donkey of Truth. How's it going, man?
Hey, man. Pretty good. I mean, let me tell you, I don't think there's anyone that could ever top that philosophical, subtle, like it was like drinking a fine wine of an intro. Let me tell you, that was like watching Gordon Ramsay cook. It was mwah, mwah. Kisses to the intro.
I appreciate that, man. All right, and we also got Blabbering Collector, another member of Geeks and Gamers. How's it going?
Hello, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. I've been reading your article about your big collecting one. I finally got back to it, and your breakup with Disney. So yeah, everyone should check out her articles on Geeks and Gamers. She spits fire a lot, and it's from a very like a reasonable perspective, especially with how she goes into detail about how much she liked Force Awakens when it came out, and her divorce with Disney came at such a high personal cost. And so it's just really interesting to get her perspective, and you all should definitely check that out.
Thanks.
We've also got Tuggs from That Tuggs Life. How's it going?
That's me. I'm good. How are you guys? I
Great.
don't know. It's Saturday. It's been a day. Anyway. But yes, definitely go read her articles because they're amazing. I love them all.
Thanks.
And I know it was a few weeks ago, but your alternate channel for reality TV, that broke 1,000 subscribers and monetized now.
Yeah, Poor Choices. Yay!
Yeah.
We're monetized now. Throw money at us so we can buy more wine. Thank you.
I admit I've watched it a few times. You guys have a lot of fun on there. There was a girl I was dating for a while who wanted me to get into like The Bachelor and stuff. I'm like, what better way to get some knowledge than a Geeks and Gamers cruise? So I admit it's a guilty pleasure of mine now that I don't tell most people about.
They talk more about random stuff than
yeah,
it's true. It's like 10% topic and 90% squirreling. But we get there. We circle back. We pull
Circle back.
Name is, we circle back. Saki, whatever, however you pronounce it.
Right.
Everybody should watch
Okay.
I like your style. It's always better to be a little bit drunk on stream. It makes it a lot easier.
Gets rid of the nerves.
Yeah, I'm drinking straight vodka right now, so you know that's my attitude towards it as well. But
Solid.
it's great to have you here. And we've got Biggles as well from Biggles Mets. How's it going, man?
Hi, everybody. I have not met two of you. I have not met the man known as Mexican Jeremy, but I call Jeremy White Ivan. Okay.
Why?
He's not.
All right, give me five. Let's make the bond.
He's not worthy enough.
Oh yeah, there's
Got
the
it.
bond. There's the
Jeremy,
bond right there.
Jeremy is not worthy enough, sir. He's not worthy enough.
You know, I don't know how I feel now that I finally, after so many years, I've been able to put like you're the Last Jedi re-edit guy, and that's all I was known for. And now I'm Mexican Jeremy. So it's like, God damn it, like, when am I gonna be just me?
But see, I call Jeremy White Ivan now. You know,
good. You should.
He needs to be worthy of you being one of him. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He hasn't.
Finally, someone gets it.
Yes.
Thank you.
I get it.
You don't choose your own legacy, so you might be known for the rest of your life as the Mexican Jeremy. Sorry, it's just how it goes.
You know what? It could be worse. Based on my life decisions, it could definitely be worse.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you help that reputation when you constantly talk about the Donkey of Truth.
Hey, it is truth at the end of the day.
It
Whether
is.
it's pleasant or not, it is what it is. We do not choose the world we live in.
That is absolutely true. And I know it was a bit over the top and I was a little bit drunk when I wrote it, but my murderous epic Mike article with the donkey of truth in it was so insane. But I knew if Ivan was going to be in it, I had to include the donkey of truth. They're synonymous with each other at this point.
And tacos.
And you know what? It's
And
crazy
tacos.
because I've only mentioned it like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
it
it's
has
so
not.
insane that it catches on.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a few other people who are going to be popping in when they get a chance. Culture Casino, Ryan from RK Outpost, and an actor friend of mine, Isaac Bills. They'll be on. And actually, one of them just popped in back. Jed, we've got Jed with us. How's it going, man?
Hey, man. Hey, Jay.
It's great to have you here.
Hey,
There's
Tuggs.
2
Hey,
Jeds in
everybody.
here. It's
Yeah.
Jed Square.
There are 2 Jeds in here.
I think I've only met 2 Jeds in my whole life, and the 2 of you are them.
Yeah, same. I was like, whoa.
It was really
Now
confusing.
there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
When we met, it was actually when Ryan was moving across the country, right? Going to different cities to meet fans. And he stopped where I was living and I go to the bar. I'm the first one there besides him. I come up and say, hey, I'm Jed. And he's like, oh, is Biggles with you? I thought you guys were coming together. And I have no idea who these 2 are yet. So I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then we figured out that there's another Jed, and we were like the 3-4 only people there at that meetup. But yeah, it just
Wait,
ended up.
there was
really
5
fun.
of us.
Was there 5?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, if you
you,
count
me,
Ryan
and Culture.
and Culture. Yeah.
So-
And for never playing NBA, what was it, Jam before?
Uh-huh.
I think I did pretty good. I think I
Oh,
did
you
pretty
did.
good
Yeah,
against
you
all of
did.
you.
I did
good.
awful, and I have like over 150 hours played on NBA.
Really?
Okay. I couldn't even make a basket, and I couldn't pass the
Did it-
ball. I was like,
I was over there popping up threes and stuff.
that was awful.
Well, at the other meetup with Nerdrotic and Jeremy when they came out to Phoenix, I feel very proud of myself. I beat Ryan in a 1v1 Smash Brothers 64. And that's like an achievement of my life. He
Yeah,
said he
I
was
saw
the
that.
best ever. He was talking it up like he's the best guy to ever play it, that no one can compete with him. And I just Donkey Kong yeeted his ass over the edge. And
I was right behind him. And I was watching Ryan. I was like, Ryan, where's all this talk that you said you were going to do, man? What's up?
I was too busy yelling at Mario Party to
Yeah,
notice.
he was.
yeah,
Fuck Mario.
that was a lot of fun. There was like 300 people there, I think. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
there was
crazy
a
meetup.
ton of people there, man.
That was great. Are you okay, Blabber?
Yeah, I just choked on some air.
Don't do that. I
So
do
how
that all
did
the
she
time.
die?
I shouldn't do it.
Air is the worst.
Didn't breathe correctly.
It's like that woman from that
I did
stand-up.
mute myself, right?
Yeah, you did.
You just looked like you were in pain, is all. But it was
We're just
reminded me of
checking on
that
Eric's
comedian
skin.
who passed out on stage after talking about getting vaccinated 7 times, and we're all just like standing there, like, is she in trouble? Is this part of her bit? And then they rush on the stage, and they're like, "Oh, we got to take her away. We need an ambulance."
Yeah,
Like
she
that might be
fractured
how
her head.
Blabbering dies. She just coughs, falls off, and we're all like, "Is she trying to be funny? Is this funny?" She doesn't come up for 5 more minutes, and we're like, "Oh, there might be a problem."
Like, what's up? What is there a problem?
Right. All right. Well, we have a lot of things to talk about tonight. First and foremost, of course, is the Rings of Power drama with the whole bastardizing Tolkien lore. And do we have any Tolkien experts on the stream? I feel like a few of you may have a little bit of knowledge.
No.
I've read a lot of the books, but I would not call myself an expert. I've read all the Hobbit book, all of the Lord of the Rings. I've read the Silmarillion at least once.
Mhm.
I've read the Tales of Tom Bombadil.
He's such an insane character.
I love him. He is the best character. Sometimes I skip around the house singing his song.
Really?
But none of you will ever see that. There's no proof. Just my word.
Well,
But
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert because I know a lot of my friends actually know more than I do.
Right.
Even though I've probably read a lot of the books.
Right.
I have all of them on audio. I
Mhm.
just haven't finished.
That's a very similar place to where I'm at. I've read all the books, seen all the movies, but nowhere near neurotic or let alone just some guy level. So I have a tertiary knowledge, but enough to understand how devastating and how contradictory this is to Tolkien's lore and his view of this incredible world that he built that we all love, irrespective of our race, gender, or creed. And that was something that was so powerful about it that I feel like Amazon just doesn't understand. But has everyone at least seen the trailer for the new Rings of Power?
Yeah.
Yes.
Generic, boring.
I watched it because you told me to.
I did tell you to. That's right. But yeah, no, and it's just strange to see after all these years how many franchises have been bastardized to this level, and like they don't care. And that's something that I talked a lot about with Blabbering Collector on our Harry Potter stream last week. Is that it's a very fundamental part of our society that good art means healthy society. And those two are so intertwined that what these people are doing to our art and our entertainment sphere has far more widespread repercussions than any of us could realize. A lot of us, dismiss it. This is something we love, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter on a world level. And that's not true because from, Greek mythology back in the day, those stories shaped their entire world. The Greek ancient world was built on those ancient stories, and the morality was based on it. So if we allow our entertainment and our art to be bastardized in such a way that our morality is corrupted, our society as a whole gets corrupted. And that's why we're all here. That's why we're all in this so-called culture war, because we want to preserve that piece of art that makes it special, that makes us as a people special. And that's really what sets us above the animals. It's not our technology. There are animals who can do things comparable to their size, like ant have incredible architecture skills. It's our art. That's the one thing that's not really seen in nature as much as it is in humanity. And that's what makes us sentient, really, is our art and our value in perceiving stories in a way that shape our worldview. And I don't know if anyone has any more comments on that, but this is why I care about Lord of the Rings. This is why I care about the Rings of Power, because at the end of the day, it's the soul of humanity that's at stake at the end of the day. It's dominoes. This is just one domino, but at the end, enough dominoes fall and humanity falls. And that might be a little over dramatic for some people, but for someone who focuses on the academic sides, as much as I at least believe that I do, that's something that can be seen throughout history. When Rome lost their mythology, when they lost their art, is when Rome became vulnerable enough to fall. So yes, Lord of the Rings, a domino. Not important in and of itself, but combined with everything else, it's all at stake.
Damn.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks for the stream, everybody.
You got to bounce?
No. Your speech was just so epic. I don't even know how anyone's going to follow that.
Yeah, I'll follow that by saying that when Gollum bites off Frodo's finger, it was like the worst. Awful. No, can't handle it. I was fine like the whole entire trilogy, and then when that happened, I was like, "This needs to be turned off." Oh my god, he just bit off his finger. Oh my god,
that's what did it for you, huh?
Yeah.
It's interesting you guys were talking about Harry Potter last time because they did a lot to try and ruin Harry Potter too, and not just with the Fantastic Beasts, but the way they killed off Voldemort in the movies. I literally can't watch them anymore.
I can't. The last one and like Half-Blood Prince for me are like one of the worst adaptations of Harry Potter in general. Like overall, they're all great movies, and if you haven't read the books, then hey, but he just becomes newspaper confetti and fly, my pretties.
Yeah, and even before it was cool, Marvel. But yeah, it was, and I saw the difference. And the third book is my favorite, and the third movie butchered that book, and I was like, "Oh, are you serious right now?" But it's fine. Like I get it, movie adaptation, that's cool. But this is like the little subtle things, like the subtle. It's not subtle from a book reader to the movie watcher. It's not subtle the way they decided to kill off Voldemort in the movie. It's blatant. Like the whole point of him falling over and dying like a normal human is to prove to his followers that he is a human being, and they were all duped. He's nothing special. He's just
Same
like
Bellatrix, yeah.
And they all put down their wands and say, "Oh crap, we've been fooled." And then they made Harry break the Elder Wand. Like what? Now he's wandless.
I know. And then Ron's like, "Hey, am I pretty?" And I'm like, "No, you don't do that."
Yeah. So it started with little things like that, like little subtleties like that. Now they're just
I still think they're really good
anymore.
book adaptations.
You what?
And compared to like Percy Jackson or something.
Oh God,
I mean,
I have a
Sand
review
is
of
better
that
than
on
Percy
Geeks and
Jackson.
Gamers, and yeah, that movie is just terrible as an adaptation.
But it has Dario or Dadir or whatever her name is.
That girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has like one of the best pair of blue eyes I've ever seen.
She's
She does have really
gorgeous.
nice eyes.
She
And
is.
I get that compliment a lot that I have the nicest, bluest eyes I've ever seen. I've looked in the mirror and I think hers are better. So that's saying. Especially since I am a narcissist, I think. I don't know exactly what that word means completely, but I think it means I love myself. So I'll go with that.
Okay.
No, those movies were terrible. But yeah, I admit my 10-year-old self, when I saw that, had a rather large crush on her. So that was a big part.
Yeah.
I was so excited too because the Percy Jackson movies, I should say, were by Chris Columbus, who did the first 2 Harry Potters. So I'm like,
Right.
this is gonna be great. She's gonna make it great. The trailer looks awesome. And then something about pearls in a casino. What?
Yeah,
They're doing
It-
that. They're doing that Star Wars thing. Hey, let's put a casino in there.
Oh,
They
yeah.
run horses.
Yeah. Every franchise needs a casino.
Yeah.
I still don't believe that scene exists because I fell asleep watching The Last Jedi because it was so awful that I missed the entire casino scene.
Nice.
Well,
That's
you're
silly.
luckier
missed
than the
nothing.
rest of us.
You're
Yeah.
lucky. You
I
are
woke-
It
lucky.
didn't affect the story at all, did it? Nope.
Mm-mm.
I
No,
woke
not
up and
one
they were
bit.
leaving the planet, and I was like, "Okay, cool. I don't care what I missed. Let's go."
Even like Rose and Finn end up with the rebellion anyway, and they would have affected what happened with the rebellion anyway. So that arc literally means goddamn
Literally
nothing.
nothing. You could take it out of the movie and it doesn't affect anything at all.
No,
Probably
no.
make it better, to be honest. Less Rose.
True.
Oh yeah.
Less Rose, and you don't have to think about, you know what, slave children, we don't care about them. Now what we care about are these space horses. They're the ones who need to be freed. And
Oh, I know.
We
those
must free
space
them.
Horses.
Did any of you watch my re-edit?
Yes.
No.
I haven't. I looked for it once or twice, but I couldn't find it on YouTube. Is it?
It's
You
not
got a
on
link?
YouTube.
Okay, that's why I couldn't find it.
It's on BitChute.
Okay, I'll have
Oh.
to look for it there.
Yeah, it's easy to find. If you can, just let me know. But pretty much, I was able to cut some major things out of the movie.
Can you send
And-
us a link later? Like,
Yeah,
I wanna
It's so
find
good.
this
You
now.
guys are gonna love it.
but like to repurpose stuff, and like there's one thing that I realized during my time with The Last Jedi, and it's people don't do things for other people anymore. This is the best way I can put it. Like
Mhm.
a lot of times, like in the past, when people were going to make a movie and you saw their interviews, they were like, "Oh yeah, we want to do it because we want this reaction from the public. We want this reaction from little kids, or this." Or it was to evoke something from other people. But nowadays, you start seeing this trend of, "Oh no, I want to do something to please my inner self. I'm going to insert myself into the movie. I'm going to insert myself as a character. I'm going to do this to meet the expectations of this." But it's not about others anymore. It's about themselves, you know? So
Right.
when I watched The Last Jedi, I was just mostly angry with Rian Johnson because you can see in the interviews how deeply he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. It was not about the fans or anything like that, and you can see it on the interviews. He did not give a crap about the fans or the franchise in itself. He's like, "Oh, I have a new toy to play with, and if I got bullied in school, well, I'm going to get it back at them because now I can manage it. You know, I can do whatever I want with it." And I think that's one of the most detrimental things with entertainment nowadays, is that everyone's just inserting themselves and projecting their insecurities and traumas into characters that we already know. And because it's easy to like grab a franchise that already exists instead of
Right.
creating a new one, because if they were to create a new one, it would absolutely fail because in itself the stories are bad.
Mhm.
Like with the same thing with the Rings of Power, right? You have a trailer that it's pretty okay. Like
Yep.
I'm not going to call it spicy or like mediocre. It's just okay. It's generic. I've seen that trailer plenty of times. He just showed me that trailer next to the trailer of the first movie of Aragon. I'll be like, yeah, they're about the same. Like they don't have any sort of like necessary spirit to them.
Right.
But then you look at the things on the news, on the magazines, and what they're accentuating. Oh, we are solving the problem that Tolkien didn't do, and it's like, dude, he created the thing. Like there is not a problem. And it's like, if they were to create that story in their own world, most likely it would fail. But because it's the Lord of the Rings, we're going to watch it, because it's like, oh, what are they going to do with it? Or I have hopes that they're going to do something good. But again, they're not doing it for us.
Right.
They're doing it for them.
Yeah, Ivan, how about the I Am Starfire or whatever it was named comic where
Jesus.
she self-inserted herself into the comic
Yeah.
book? Mm.
No, yeah. For anyone that didn't have the absolute disgust to read that comic,
Oh, God,
let
that
me
was-
tell
Oh,
you.
you did.
I
did.
read it because I had to do a little spiel on the live stream about it. So yeah, I don't get me
To read
started.
it. I refuse to read it, just like I refuse to watch this this show.
Mhm. So yeah, it was.
It's Indians.
What's up, little brother?
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
going off Ivan's point is they're inserting themselves into it, but on such a superficial level that no one can connect with those characters. As a writer myself, I admit that I've inserted myself into the stories before, but never in a purely appearance manner. And that's what they're going for. I introduce my own personal struggles, my personal history, my, history in such a degree that you can really understand and get inside of the head of certain traumatic events, that I feel like that sort of self-insert is fine, but these people are doing it on such a superficial level that these are empty characters meant to just be, physically what they are and appear as they are. And that's why so many people have a problem with it, is they're empty characters used on a basis of identity politics and as an excuse to be written as lazily as possible. As a writer myself, that is offensive, to use something political and may or may not be an actual real issue in the world, depending on your own political opinions, and to bastardize it in such a way that it makes it feel empty and meaningless. The idea of representation. And it's just terrible to see the heart of the issue be ignored for the appearance of the issue.
You know how I feel that it's like what's happening? I don't know if any of you were like this when you were young. Even to today, I still do it. I don't care. But that you would pretend that you are a character and you would play like in your backyard with a stick, and I am Luke Skywalker, and you would make the sounds and everything.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of us, while pretending to be a character, we were like, okay, now I need to focus on the internal struggles of my character. Like we were just there to beat the crap out of the bad guy, and that's it. Like very superficial.
Mhm.
But we wanted to be the character that we were playing as because they inspired us. We saw ourselves in them being the greater version of ourselves. But now you have people that I think they're doing that, inserting themselves into the movies, and instead of actually thinking, what can I do to inspire, to make other people feel like that, they're just playing still on the superficial level of, I'm going to just do this one character trait, and I'm going to make this character immediately liked by everyone because I wasn't liked during middle school and high school, and that's it. And you get this superficial character because they're not taking into consideration what a good character is.
Right. Yeah.
I like to.
They're taking the whole I see myself as that character a little too literally.
Yeah.
The whole point of a well-written character is that a well-written character, everybody can find something that they identify in that character. A well-written villain, you can maybe see from a point of view, but you're like, oh, that's still a point. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to literally look like me in order for me to identify with you as a character. Like Han Solo, I wanted to be Han Solo. He was so cool and suave. Am I a guy? No. Do I have a giant spaceship? Also, no. Am I 6 feet tall? Definitely not. But he was cool and he had swagger, and I wanted that kind of swagger down the street while holding my lightsaber, defeating bad guys like Luke Skywalker. Okay, it's just that's it.
Yeah.
I identify as Piccolo
I feel
from Dragon Ball Z. That I have a rash guard that's Piccolo's outfit for like when I do jiu-jitsu and stuff. I'll go dressed as Piccolo and I'll go like fight people in my gym.
Dude, when I was a kid, I would pretend to be a velociraptor.
Dude,
Like not even a human.
Yes.
and you like my family, they give me crap about it all the time. They're like, "Hey, can you do the sound of the velociraptor?" Because I used
Do
to
it.
like just walk around the house like this, you know.
Mhm.
Like
Do
I
it.
can't do it anymore. Like I don't know how I did it, but they're like, "Yeah, you were like," and just like walking and. But yeah, I got inspired by a velociraptor.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright.
Are we dinosaurs? No. Have dinosaurs been dead for millions of years? Yes. Did I
I'm
still
definitely a
see
dinosaur.
myself in the Velociraptor, that clever girl being clever?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Sure
I
did.
All right, everyone, we have a special guest, someone who I wasn't originally planning on having to stream, but he was available, so glad we could grab him. Johnny64.
Hi.
Hey, Johnny.
Having no life.
Hey,
Hey, what's up, man?
yeah, I wasn't expecting to come in, but thanks for inviting me in. I was listening to the stream and I was enjoying it, and so I just chatted. And he's like, "You want to come on?" I'm like, "I guess I'm not doing anything better right now." So,
Yeah, so I'll just come in. Yeah.
Hey, anyone part of Geeks and Gamers is always welcome.
Yeah.
Except Jeremy. Everyone
Yeah,
but
Thank you,
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Quite
Richard
kind
Jeremy.
of.
Yeah. Cancel Jeremy. So
Lord of the Rings is a religious like obsession with me and my family, though. So,
Really?
Oh, there's your expert. There's
See,
your
we need
He's
an
got
expert.
one.
No, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in regards of fandoms, the Lord of the Rings up to this point has been very silent, quiet, just like at bay. But whenever this trailer and the news started to pop out, I was like, now we're definitely gonna see that like dark side of that.
The lions are
fandom,
coming.
because I feel like if there is a fandom that is more passionate, more eloquent, and with more tenacity
Great.
and passion than the Star Wars one, is the Lord of the Rings one.
yeah. Well, it's sorry, we can introduce the new person.
All
Oh,
Just real
Coach.
fast, this is
Coach.
Coach Isaac. He's an actor friend of mine. He's been on the stream before,
yeah.
and glad to have him. And we also have Ryan from RK Outpost here.
Okay,
Hey,
good. I'm
What's
gone.
up, brother?
Get this shit out of
This is a packed house here.
I know.
Imagine my surprise. Jed's like, "Hey, Ryan, can you come on?" I'm like, "You know what? I'm really fucking busy, but I'll make time because I like Jed and I like all the people on this
I
panel."
appreciate that.
And I tune in, as I'm getting a couple things ready, and I just hear you talking mad shit about me, Jed.
Which one
So,
doing it? So,
Whoa.
like,
That wasn't us.
That wasn't bad shit, Ryan. I would have stopped it.
he's like, Jed's like, I begged Ryan to play Super Smash Brothers 64 after he was hammered, and I barely beat him. Yeah, that's what I heard. But no, it's good. It's good to see
kicked your
everybody.
ass, man.
I don't really remember, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah,
you
he
were
doesn't
pretty drunk.
remember that much from that night.
You were really drunk.
He was so
He
distraught from
was.
losing, he blacked out. It's gone.
Yeah.
Must have been it. Yeah.
Wait, at
We'll
the
go
end
with
of the
that
night
one.
when I came up to him, he's like, "Hey, Jed, what's up, man?" I was like, "I love you, brother." He's like,
That's right.
Well, it's great to have you all on here. For the three new guys, we've been talking about Rings of Power a little bit, with the whole force diversity issue. And do you guys have anything additional you want to add? I know Johnny was just about to get into a spiel when Coach Isaac showed up.
Yeah,
No,
I just want to like piggyback off of Ivan's point about like the Lord of the Rings fandom. For the most part, I've been pretty quiet, throughout the years, and they're an older audience, a very sophisticated audience, intelligent. And my family is a good example of that. Like my mother, for example, she doesn't care about most stuff related to nerds. She doesn't care about Star Wars. She doesn't care about any of that. And if I told her the way they've just destroyed it, she'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, whatever." But after she saw the trailer for Lord of the Rings, she was like, "Is this real? Like, is this serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Mom, like they're doing all this. There's like the agendas in it. Like It's terrible. And like, they're obsessed with it. When the new Hobbit movies came out, they threw a Hobbit party for it. So they're like they're separate, in my opinion. Like, the way I see it, they're separate from nerd culture for the most part, except Lord of the Rings. They love Tolkien. And now they've been like, they're totally in this fight. Like, they would be normies in most like spheres of nerd. And now they're all in it. And it's just like, they've awakened a beast with this Lord of the Rings thing, man.
No, absolutely. And not to get too political, but something that Ryan and Jeremy have talked about a lot is how, right politicians often mock the entertainment sphere and disregard it. But Tolkien is one of those few examples because it's considered separate from the whole entertainment sphere in a way that it's more academic of sorts, and they see more value in it. So a lot of people who have politically given up on this whole entertainment sphere are getting involved finally and see this as a battleground worth having, where it's separate from all these other ones that they didn't deem as worthy of their attentions. So it's been interesting to see.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about it too much on my channel or anything, but no, it's like, I think the biggest difference and the reason people are really surprised by the blowback is because the Lord of the Rings fandom is different. For years and years, did you have like the Hobbit cartoon? Yeah, you had that. But other than that, it's these books. It's even letters from Tolkien to fans, like people that would ask him questions. Like they're documented, and it's like, oh, letter 342 written to Mr. George Stephanopoulos or whoever, right? And it's like, I said this one thing about beers in 1970 before I died. And there are literal scholars that are devoted to this stuff. It's the complete opposite of like Star Wars fandom, where, people that read the expanded universe, myself, I know Tuggs is a big expanded universe fan as well. That's definitely the minority. Where we were definitely in the minority there. The vast majority of people got introduced to it and love it because of the movies. And so when you take something where people are so hanging on to every single word that Tolkien said, and you so drastically change it, this is the result you get. And I think that the US trailer is almost ratioed. It's effectively ratioed at this point. But the UK one is more interesting. That one has been ratioed since the beginning. It's almost double the amount of dislikes. And that's who it was written for. It was written for the people of England to be some sort of like fantasy mythology for them, for his people. And they are the ones that it's geared toward. They're the ones that are rejected it the hardest. And I love that.
Well, what's funny is I was thinking this morning how it's like, dude, I remember watching the Last Jedi trailer and feeling some excitement. And I didn't know what movie I was going to see. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, this could be good. I can't wait to see Luke in a movie and all that sort of thing. This could. And it's like, that's just the trailer. Like, the parts that are supposed to piss us off haven't even happened yet. Like, the only job of the trailer is to get us excited. And even that's getting ratioed right now. It's like, imagine if the show is as bad as it's looking like it's going to be. It's like, this is only like a smidge of like how upset people are really going to be.
Yeah. We're and I just wanted to say, we're talking a lot about, these stories that are for white people. And I don't really think Ivan belongs in this conversation. I think he needs to leave.
All right, yeah, it looks like, Ivan, you got to bounce. Is there anything
As a matter of fact,
Like somebody TV or something.
I don't know. We're kind of talking about Ivan's Lord of the Rings now, aren't we?
So, that's right. This is for Ivan.
I'll stay 10 more minutes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Just because I gave you an exit. I gave you an exit.
He gave you the perfect exit.
You see, but here's the thing. He gave it.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
you can't accept
that's the thing.
It's just his white guilt.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to take a white savior. Granted, even like another white person would be giving me the exit at this point. I think I'm the darkest person in this panel. But anyways,
I'm the lightest.
Winter.
Lighting.
You just wait. As soon as it starts getting warm here, I'm gonna be darker than you. I've got to come out. Hold on.
But like something that I was kind of optimistic about the trailer. Not gonna lie. Even when I saw it, I was like, you know what? Amazon did The Boys and Invincible, which were, in my opinion, really good. And I was like, they can pull it off. They can pull it off. I mean, companies are not that soulless yet, I think. And that is also because I was riding the hype of the Mandalorian. Boba Fett, the Mandalorian showed up, and I was very excited for it because they seem to understand Luke and the lore. And I was like, fuck Boba Fett at this point. Like, this is something that I can really look forward to. And I felt hopeful for the first time in 7 years. And then, like, I saw the finale of Boba Fett, which for anyone that hasn't watched it, just don't. It insults not only Boba Fett, but insults the Mandalorian. Double insults Luke Skywalker, and it shows you that they really want to double down on the sequels. And
Coach,
You're good now.
huh?
You're okay, Coach. You can take your fingers out.
There's no spoilers, Isaac. There's no spoilers.
No, I'm not giving any spoilers.
Yeah, we're not giving any spoilers.
Okay.
But yeah, like,
I love the Book of Boba. Okay, it's like so I just had to imagine.
Yeah.
no, but like, and then kind of like made me realize, you know what? There is actually no hope, and you can ask Ryan, and especially
Like a new
Jeremy,
title.
because I used to be very optimistic when it came to like other type of projects. Like, if you see my videos from the beginning to today, my optimism has been destroyed over and over and over again, to where I can definitely say, even though the trailer looks absolutely generic and could be good, the odds are it's not going to.
I want to say that we've been trashing it every Thursday night on the Throwdown. So, okay, comics is destroying it.
You're right, Ivan. And I said this too when I reacted to the trailer. It's like, that was it kind of thing. You know, like, okay, it could have been anything. It could have been, I think Jeremy said it could have been a Narnia, like a new Narnia movie.
I thought it was a D&D movie.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been another Warcraft movie or something. It could have just been anything set in like a not quite science fiction, but a fantasy environment. And so I think that's the craziest part, is people are reacting to what they know Amazon is doing, not so much just the trailer, which means people are very aware of everything happening.
Yeah, I mean, in a 1 minute trailer, they hit almost every box of agenda. I mean, it's one thing to hear like, oh, there's the Harfoots, and like they might be a little bit darker skin tone. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of a stretch. That doesn't necessarily mean there was black hobbits in Middle Earth. But if they want to take it and turn it into that, okay, that's one thing. But explain to me black elves, like, and again, when's the genocide happening? Because black elves, where there's black dwarves, and dwarves are in freaking caves. Like, why are they even black? That doesn't make sense. Like, naturally, they wouldn't
like
be
the
that
Little
skin
Mermaid.
Yeah, that's
Disney.
exactly what I
know, right?
And the photos, I mean, of Galadriel, man,
God.
I freaking love a Galadriel show. If it's actually like Galadriel, but this is not her. This is, and it goes into like I remember during the Geeks and Gamers stream during the Tuesday night's main event, they were just talking about like the lore and how much people have known the lore, and I just like, I don't even feel like that's even required though, because if you've seen the movies, you have a sense of the kind of character that Galadriel is, and she's like a feminine character. She's like that's where her strength comes from, even how she carries herself. And now the fact that she's this generic, we've seen it over and over again, like warrior lady. I'm sick of this. It's literally like we get painted as the bad guys as we're going after women. No, we're trying to like defend quality women. They're more complex than this, but you just want to make it seem like every woman just needs to be like she needs to have armor and she needs to have a sword, or she's just some kind of failure of a woman. She's not even worth writing, and that's pathetic. That's just Hollywood being simplistic. And
you know what? Speaking of strong women, I just want to say that, I mean, at least I am hopeful for the Oscars this year because Amy Schumer is going to be hosting it.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
God.
my
She's the
God.
funniest woman
oh.
on the planet.
You know what
You gonna
I'm,
talk about like
funny.
tampons and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm hopeful for? I'm hopeful for all the videos I'll get to make when it sets another record for lowest ratings. So.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, just profiting off their stupidity at this point.
To be honest, though, there is a part of me that's like, that's kind of happy through this. Like, I have some joy through this because to see how people have responded to this. And I also feel like there's a lot of normies, a lot of the older audience that aren't as involved in nerd culture, who aren't really seeing what's going on, who aren't really seeing the way agendas being injected into everything and ruining just people who used to be creative. They're not creative anymore. And so I feel like it's waking a lot of people up. I'm even seeing it with my parents a little bit. My mom was like, she couldn't believe that they were doing all this. And I'm like, Gary's been literally saying this is going to happen like word for word for like 6 months. You know, they're going to have this, they're going to have X, they're going to have Z. And yeah, it's not a surprise to the rest of us. So I think it's a good thing.
Whenever, and this is going to be like my last comment of the night because I do have to go. I left my grandfather with oxygen out in the car. He might pass out at any time, but no, like the thing is that whenever you go to a restaurant and they give you bad food and you ask for better food, they don't attack you. Like people around you will not attack you. They'll be like, yeah, I mean, you're paying for it. You should get something worth your money, right? But for whatever reason, that isn't the case when we demand it in entertainment. You know, we're doing exactly the same thing. We just want a better product and we're voicing it. Now, granted, it's easier to do it at a restaurant because you can go to the manager. We cannot go to like, you know, J.J. Abrams and be like, yo, dude, like change the recipe of this thing. But, and I just hate how we are attacked so often and labeled for something, and it's like immediate, you know, they are just ready for it. The articles against the fans of the Lord of the Rings came out not even a day after the trailer came out, as if they already knew that the narrative was gonna go in a certain way. And it's like, with that said, I am hopeless. I am going to drown my sorrows with vodka now.
There you go.
Yeah,
Make sure you let Tu Abuelo out of the car first, all right?
You know what?
Where are the keys?
He's got a good inheritance coming the way, so you never know. I might not wait until Christmas to get those.
I don't think 30,000 pesos is actually that much money, so I don't know.
If you know how to divide it, you can feed a family of 15.
And they can also all park in front of the same house, shockingly.
I mean, actually, you'll see only 2 cars because we can fit all of them in 2 cars.
Like Tetris.
That's true. That is true. I've seen.
No, this is a real story. I fit 9 people inside a 4-people car.
It's true. That's how you hear like there's like a 2-car accident from like human traffickers and like 40 people die.
Oh my
You know those clowns at circus that it's like 10 clowns get out of this like Volkswagen? We taught them. We created that art. All right. Anyways, it was nice seeing everyone. A pleasure. Hopefully, like next time I can stay a little bit longer. But
it was great to
my
have you.
grandpa's about to die. So
Hi, Ivan.
Bye.
Take care, man.
How do you exit?
This is a special man. I wanted to ask Coach Isaac, you've been uncharacteristically non-hyperverbal. You are the most norming person I know. What do you think of the Lord of the Rings situation?
Oh, okay. Well, I've been vocally fasting. Oh, shoot. I just broke my fast. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I've been trying not to talk because I'm talking fast. Okay. I might as well start. Well, all I saw was a trailer. I'm super excited. I grew up as a kid. I remember going to the Fellowship of the Ring in the movie theater with me sitting on my mom's lap. And the second Bilbo, the Hobbit, Bilbo turned into like Gollum for a second.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
Because he freaked out because of the ring. there is never another time in my entire life I've been so scared and so terrified. Every time throughout my entire childhood, I would always hide in the closet during that scene in the Fellowship of the Ring. And, since then, obviously, because of the adrenaline rush, I got addicted. I watched the second, I watched the third, and then Hobbit came out. I kept watching and watching and watching. So, I mean, I can't say I'm probably like on it every single, sentence of the book, scene in the movie, as far as knowledge sake, but obviously I am excited because I've always loved Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I totally agree with you about the Bilbo scene. It scared the living fuck out of me.
But it still gets me. I'm a grown person and I know it's coming and I still jump.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm remembering the first time I saw it every time it happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just know it's
It's so good.
Although I want to,
I watched that so late in my life that didn't bother me. I was like 15.
It's Frodo's finger for me. No.
I could have watched it for the first time now and I would have been scared.
Yeah.
Although I want to acknowledge the legitimacy of what you said, Coach. Like, that's awesome. I'm happy for you for being excited for it because you're a big Lord of the Rings fan. Personally, I feel like because I'm such a big Lord of the Rings fan, I'm not excited about it. Like, it just doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. I just don't feel like their heart's in the right place. Doesn't communicate Tolkien with me. But I wish it could just simply be that. I mean, I think that's the biggest issue. We've had forms of media that's like revolved around stuff that we love. This sucked. I mean, I'm not looking forward to what I think is going to be a bad Lord of the Rings show. But I mean, I've already seen bad Lord of the Rings. It was The Hobbit. Like, I did not like The Hobbit. But back then, when I said I didn't like it, I wasn't called names for it. There wasn't assumptions being made about me. And I think that's just what's really changed since then. Is like, now it's like you're not even allowed to dislike it, which to me isn't a winning method in the long run, because it's like, as time goes on and as more franchises are ruined and as more people are waking up to the fact that I don't think this is very good, well, you're racist. Right. It's like, how many people before you've like named literally everyone racist? Like, you're going to eventually come across something that somebody doesn't like, And so like my friend, who's one of my best friends, it's amazing that we're as close as we are, but she's very much on the left. We disagree on like everything politically, but she absolutely hates The Last Jedi for the same reasons I do. And I'm like, every time they call me this, I'm like, that's what they think of you too. Like, you're seeing this, right? Because you don't like the way they've ruined Luke. Like, they're making you that too. Like, this is how crazy things are right now.
That's what a lot of people don't understand about the situations that we get ourselves into in this sphere. Is it's not about politics as much as they want us to believe that it is. It is 100% about weaponizing politics, and that everyone can get behind, whether or not you agree with what's going on. This is a sphere that should be 80-90% of the time free of politics. It is built for escapism, to be free of the real world, and they don't understand that anymore, so they're weaponizing it. And that's why our sphere has nothing to do with right or left or any other direction. It's all about, we want to be free from the controversy of the world for whatever few minutes, few hours that we can achieve in this sort of escapism sphere. And to see the last bastion of that fall in forms of Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, the best bastions of them, it just kills your soul to watch. And this is the place that's supposed to be different, that's supposed to be better than everything else in that sense. And it's heartbreaking.
It's funny. Every single time I think about all the classics that they're trying to bring back from when I was a child. I mean, child, Superman, not Superman, like Spider-Man and Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I put everything into one big ball, as if like they're trying to ruin everything I grew up with. I mean, like, there's a time to stop and there's a time to keep going. Like Hangover, the movie Hangover?
Yeah.
They should have stopped at one.
The first one was good. The second one was bad. The third one was trying to go back to one, but we've seen it all before, so no one cared.
I just think there's a lot of things you just got to keep it as it is, to keep it as a legend. Not just a famous movie or a movie you remember, but like as a legend.
It's a cliche line, but a flower isn't beautiful because it lasts. So if you try to keep it alive forever, it just, you cultivate its own destruction. And that's what a lot of things are happening with these franchises.
So that's what I'm afraid of.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm really excited about it, but at the same time, because I know the pattern and I've seen it mostly because of Jed on how this freaking crazy, amazing amount of fictional, amazing storytelling. It just blabbers on and on. It will never stop. And because of Jed, I'm super skeptical about everything nowadays.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll watch it someday.
That's why I keep you around, Isaac, because you give me that glance into the normie sphere. And sometimes I have to admit that I wish I had that sort of innocent approach to these franchises where you didn't have anything to compare to. Like, if I wasn't in the sphere, I would have no way of believing that Lord of the Rings was going to be a problem. I would just be excited because it had Lord of the Rings. But because I'm in the sphere, I see that. And so that's why it's important to have people like Isaac around. And that mentality is still important in and of itself. It's the combination of hopeful blind fans with people like us that can create a good fandom. It's got to be balanced.
Well, Jed, we have one of those on our channel, and it's my little brother Ash. So we have our own little normie on our channel too. So yeah, he's the coach of of our channel. So.
Yeah.
So I'm like that, but for like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm very excited, and then you just keep hearing these things, and you're very cautious. And now I have that new rumor. Did you guys hear it? Cover your ears if you don't want to hear the rumor of like Princess Leia. Oh no, like I don't know. Hard pass.
Did you see in my Twitter where they were shut up, Fish? Did you see in my Twitter where they're supposed to have 2 fights between Vader and Obi-Wan, and I started just laughing my ass off?
But it's been the whole time. That was from the announcement. They told us that.
Yeah.
They said that it's going to be the rematch of the century between Obi-Wan and Vader. And the thing is, with Star Wars, it's clear that they're taking, and it might not even be the wrong approach for them, to be honest. They're taking the approach of, we are going to jangle keys. We're going to give you these characters that people love. We're going to jam them into these stories, even if they don't belong, because we've seen the fan reaction. And the numbers are out there. Book of Boba Fett got more people. Like, the finale of Book of Boba Fett had more people tune in than the season finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, yeah. So now, I mean, there's probably more Disney Plus subscribers since then. There might even be more, Samba TV, capturing available in that time. But still, you can't deny it was like a 30% increase. So whatever they're doing is working. As much as I think it's terrible and awful, and that they're prioritizing the feelings of people who are willing to ignore continuity because they want to clap and see these characters they care about. That's what they're going to do. Yes, Obi-Wan is going to leave Tatooine to go save Leia. Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are going to fight multiple times. Now, are they going to... Here's the thing. There's some people that are saying, well, if it's a dream sequence, then I can see it.
Yeah.
People are going to get to the point, they're going to convince themselves, and this is what Disney wants, that even if they do fight, it's okay because they weren't super specific in episode 4. That people will convince themselves of that because they want to clap and they want to see these characters that they care about, regardless if it makes sense or not.
I feel like as content creators, like, we can kind of relate this to our sphere a little bit, because it's like, part of it is agenda, but I also think a lot of it is just corporate laziness, and even a level of laziness we could relate to. Like, I could easily just re-upload a lot of my videos from last year. And yeah, they might get a lot of views, and yeah, a lot of people will see them that had it before, and maybe they'll do well. But the biggest fans of my channel, the subscribers, are going to go, dude, you're not putting out any new content. You're just rehashing a lot of the same old stuff. We've seen this before. We know what happens here, and it's not interesting to us. And that's what they're doing with these IPs. It's like, we've seen this before. They've done it before. They just keep regurgitating the same things to the point where it's like not even interesting. It's like, even when we have something that like we somewhat enjoy, like the last Ghostbusters movie, I enjoyed it, but I can't deny the fact that it was just like the first Ghostbusters movie all over again. And it's
Right.
just how do you capitalize on just rehashing and re-uploading the same things over and over again? And it gets old. It's just lazy.
Well, beyond laziness, I think another huge part of it is complacency from the people who actually disagree with them in the entertainment sphere. I'm actually going through something very similar. I can't go into a ton of details, but I have been approached to make a production of my book series into a television show, and it's by a company that doesn't have a good reputation. They're more in line with the political stuff that we're used to, and so I'm going through the quandary of, do I sacrifice my artistic integrity and what I feel is my soul for these beliefs that I have, or do I choose the opportunity to further my career and the opportunity to go on to other stories once I get in the sphere? And going through it myself, I'm beginning to understand so many of these people that are caught in the middle of this situation that actually don't agree, but the people with all the power are, manipulating them into a situation where they can't avoid it to progress their careers. And I feel a lot of sympathy for them, but at a certain point, you've got to stick with your values. So I'm going through that moral quandary in and of myself. So I can relate to it, but still it's not easy for a lot of those people who aren't involved in the whole political or agenda or even corporate laziness sphere to break free of it in hopes of making the best lives for themselves that they personally can do. And it's a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes just being outright lied to. I mean, because even with the George Lucas example, I don't think George didn't know that this was going to happen to Star Wars.
Yeah.
He still might have taken the money because it was a lot of money.
Right.
I'm not denying that he isn't going to accept that deal, but he didn't think he probably believed that they were going to try to honor his legacy. They probably believed that they were going to try to use some of those suggestions that he had about where the story should go from that point on. And they told him they would, and just completely disregarded it after they got what they wanted. And there's a lot of that going on too, where they know how to give the whole tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's just deception. That's all it is they just are constantly deceiving fans. They're constantly deceiving normies. They're telling you that they're your friend, and they're not. They just want to use you. They want to monetize you.
I wish that Star Wars, I've been done with Star Wars for years. I'm way past most people in the grieving process with Disney Star Wars. What they need to do is stop doing what they're doing now, because they might get some cheap clicks, they might get some cheap cheers, but it will degrade everything that's going on. Because right now, Star Wars, the universe is so small. There's 50 people involved, and all of them fucking know each other somehow, and they're always interacting. And they're still telling the stories in this same time frame. They need to literally from the sequels go 50 years past that, 30 years past,
I agree.
something like that, and just
so disconnected.
start fresh. Tell something original. Then it might not have the immediate hit that you have with an Obi-Wan series, but it will actually help you establish a real fan base going forward, and it will do something that isn't offensive to so many people. Because even the people that may be enjoying this, a lot of them were justifying it by, a sequel trilogy is getting retconned. No, it's fucking not. No. So a lot of people are watching this with the knowledge that, eventually all this leads to the sequels. You just got to bite the bullet.
They can't do that though. They can't do that. They won't do that because they're not that creative. Yeah, and I mean, look at everything that's worked for them so far. Everything that's worked for them that's related to Star Wars is somehow connected to the past. Even Baby Yoda is about old Yoda, just being cute. Or the Luke Skywalker scene that got everybody excited. It's like anytime they have some sort of success, or Rogue One and the Vader scene, it's like they're constantly trying to cash in on what more creative people established. And so what they would do with doing that, I agree with you, and I just am acknowledging why I don't think it'll happen. Is because they don't have the skills to make that happen.
Right. Well, and it goes back to that Lord of the Rings quote, or the J.R.R. Tolkien quote we've been seeing in all these the trailers comments, is evil cannot create anything new. It just takes over what is already existing. And that is 100% Lucasfilm's attitude towards it, is they have to take over the nostalgia of the original trilogy, of the prequel trilogy, and co-opt it in a bastardized form that people will go and see. And so, it's all these franchises are connected in that same kind of limbo sphere, where they're just going to capitalize off taking adapting what we know and love and corrupting it. And it's just going to cycle down until we have nothing left.
Well, the irony is too is if they had just done all this nostalgia stuff that they're doing now to begin with, had done that in the sequel trilogy to begin with, had our Jurassic World moment with the 3 original characters teaming up and taking down stormtroopers or whatever, to begin with, there wouldn't be all this drama. And now you're backpedaling and it's too late at this point. Like I say that as somebody who absolutely loved that scene of Luke and the Mandalorian, and I am fingers crossing for Boba or for Kenobi, but it's too late now. If you had started with this and said, hey, we want to bridge the gap between the old and the new, instead of only catering to the new and setting the bridge on fire for the old, you would probably have a much better response than you do. Boba Fett was awful until Mando showed up, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God, Boba Fett was great. I love that show. No, you like Mando and Baby Yoda. I don't mad at you for it, but that's what you like.
Right.
You know, so if they had just done this from the beginning, they were so adamant to not do it in the beginning, it backfired on them, and now they're trying to backpedal.
People just don't like it when their favorite characters are changed.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
or
weird
just
how that
altered.
works.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what happened with Star Wars. I mean, from freaking Leia is now all of a sudden flying through the air, and Luke Skywalker's drinking teddy milk, and then all of a sudden they just undid
In
all
one
of Han's
movie.
character arc, and he's a deadbeat dad. I mean, that's really what happened with Game of Thrones, and why it fell apart so quickly is Jon Snow just turned into a total bitch. And Tyrion just turned into a total idiot. And Daenerys all of a sudden is evil. And Jaime's character arc is just undone. Like, that's really what ruined it for it all, is all the characters ended up being the complete opposite of what they should have been. And now people just don't like it when you do that. We're fans of these characters for a reason.
Right. Well, and going off what Tuggs was saying.
Hold on, Jed. Hold on. Did that happen once it ran out of the story?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
people started seeing signs of that when they got past the source
Well,
material.
Daenerys
it's-
was always going to turn evil, so I don't know why people thought she wasn't. At some point, she was going to do it. It was rushed, but yes, that's when they ran out of material. When George ran out of books. That was when, I mean, there was little changes before that, but that was when the big shift happened because there wasn't anything else.
But
George
Tuggs, she
R.
would have
Martin was like,
never.
"Well, this is how this ends. Good luck," and they were like, "Okay."
She would have never been killing poor people and children, though. None of that was set up. No, I don't buy that. She was never that kind of evil. Yeah, maybe she was a dictator. Maybe she was wrathful. Maybe she was, but that completely goes against the entire character we've always thought of her. Is now all of a sudden she's killing innocent people that she always stood up.
But she was killing innocent people, though. Remember, was she the Masters when she got to was it Yunkai? The first time she put all of those people on the crosses. And there's a throwaway line in there where it's like, well, did you even make sure they were all guilty first? And she was like, nope. So it was there. It was very subtle, but it was there.
Yeah,
And
but
it-
those
it
aren't the
could've-
characters she claimed to care about. Those are the enemies in her mind. The children didn't do anything, or the poor people in the streets that she was blazing of flames.
No,
They
I'm
didn't
with
do
you.
anything to indicate those were her enemies.
Well, you're both
Those
right.
are her enemies, though. She
Yeah.
made that decision watching them all run from her, and they didn't bow down. They became her enemies the moment she was sitting on top of that castle, realizing she has no love from these people. These people do not love her. They fear her, and she said, "F it."
You're both right, because I think that if they had done it right, if we had gotten like probably 2 more seasons, you know, of actually developing that character the way it was probably intended originally, we would have seen them get to that point where we can all justify her, not justify, but understand what her justification is. And the entire thing about, you know, Game of Thrones, it's all about this power. It's all about getting to the top and doing whatever it takes to get there, and how that power corrupts, you know. And so I can understand how you would get there by the end. The problem is you can't go from what we saw in season 7 of her to a couple episodes later, her killing innocent children.
It's
You
not
can
a
get there with
arc.
seasons, right?
Right. Yeah, that's an arc done in 2 moments, and that's where a lot of the issues come from. If you had shown the
Same
entire
with
arc,
Luke Skywalker.
exactly.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't go from your last time you saw Luke Skywalker, you know, smiling at, you know, his father and Obi-Wan and Yoda and Return of the Jedi, to the next one being like, yeah, fuck this shit. All hope is lost. It makes no sense. You know, you can tell a story that can somehow justify it if you do it right and you give it time.
Right, because it just didn't even make any sense. Like, she hears the bells and then she immediately goes for the people in the streets. I would have been like, if I'm her in that position, I'm going, oh, you're not getting off that easy, Cersei, and you're going straight at the tower. Why she go, oh, the bells, they gave up. I'll deal with you later, Cersei. Let me take out it with what? Like, it was that rushed, like, it didn't make sense. We couldn't make sense of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, going back a little bit to Tuggs' comment that started all this, is nostalgia early on is a very important thing. Just like she's saying, if she'd done it up front, it's a very good way to bring people back into the franchise. That's what I think could save Doctor Who at this point specifically, is if, they get rid of all the problems and then focus on nostalgia for a little bit, they need to bring people back, and then they can evolve it into a way that goes into the future in a positive manner. And so, after 30 years or whatever, 20 years of being off screen, Star Wars should have focused on nostalgia in the way that the Disney Plus shows did, and then built up to the sequel trilogy in a way that people could slowly get attached to these characters and adjusted to this new Disney-ified world. But with especially The Last Jedi, it was a clear cut, this is us now, this is ours. And that's where a lot of the issues came from. So nostalgia is a very valuable tool, but it's too late for a lot of Star Wars fans to bring it back, especially the Book of Boba Fett finale.
That first movie should have been just all about the original characters, and then the second movie should have introduced all the new characters, and then the third movie, everybody should have came together.
Like Avengers.
Yeah. Assemble.
that's how we should have done it.
I've got something even better than that, Jed. You had the expanded universe. The last thing that was, canonically put out was about 45 years after 45 years after A New Hope, which was Crucible, which was this kind of last adventure with Luke, Han, and Leia. Like, them together went off and did something that was kind of supposed to really be almost a passing of the torch in a way, and a connecting thing to the next trilogy, in which the next generation of heroes would truly take the lead, And so it was almost like it was written for them. That was set 45 years after A New Hope. Force Awakens took place 38 years after A New Hope. The ages line up fucking perfectly. You have all this stuff. If people want to know what happened in between, then you can reference these points. You already have all this material. Can you make some maybe animated adaptations or something? Of course you can. It'd be fucking awesome. And what you do is you have your three heroes. You have Leia, you have Han, and you have Luke, but you already have your built-in protagonist for the next level. You have Ben Skywalker. You have Jaina Solo, your strong female character who has a bloodline that matters. You have Jag Fell, your non-force sensitive hero who's married to Jaina. You have, interesting characters like Tahiri Vela, another strong, powerful woman. You have a Hapen Jedi Queen who was who had an affair with a Sith Lord and now has a child with a very interesting, future ahead of her that could determine a lot of things in the galaxy. Everything these motherfuckers could have wanted, from diversity, representation, all this shit was laid out in front of them, and they threw it away because they didn't want to actually have any creativity.
Well, and it's not even just the big franchises either. I don't know if you guys listened to Matt Walsh's podcast at all, but the night that they did the premiere for that movie Shut In, which is about a female lead taking control, right? Escaping out of a thing. You're like, oh yeah, strong woman. This, she's got her demons and all that stuff. New Line Cinema, I didn't know this. New Line Cinema actually had that movie before Daily Wire got it. And they told the screenwriter, we want to make the following changes. Okay, we're going to take away the bad guy of this movie, which was the P word I'm not allowed to say on YouTube.
Right.
The druggy guy, right? We're going to replace him with a dog. And then we're also going to take out the kids. So it's just a woman trapped in a closet by herself against a dog. And the screenwriter was like, that's literally not even the point of the... You're missing the whole point of the movie. Like, she chooses to be a mother. She goes through these themes. There's kind of a religious... What are you talking about? And the only reason... And Matt Walsh even says, like, she begrudgingly was like, okay, but Daily Wire said, we are going to adapt your movie the exact way you wrote it. Give it to us. We've got you. And she was like, oh God, but it's Ben Shapiro. I don't know. And she let them have it. And it's a good movie. On the day, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. But even that, you have this strong, quote unquote, strong female lead, and she's by herself, and she takes control, and she takes down these two guys all by herself, and they still wanted to change it. So it's like, what do you want? What is it? What is it that you want? it just drives me crazy. I don't know.
Well, we talked about it about an hour ago, but it's their Hollywood's attack on femininity and women. The fact that she was a mother is something that they would go against because they want to disassociate femininity from motherhood and the strength that is therein derived. And so I could totally see why Hollywood would totally want to divorce themselves from that core element of the film to create something totally different, because motherhood is something that they want to disassociate themselves with.
Well, we've swapped, right? Only men can be feminine now, and women have to be looking like Hulk all the time.
Yeah.
Galadriel and Elrond.
The whole thing about Galadriel, here we are circling back again. The whole thing about Galadriel too is this whole armor thing. Now, I have heard over the years, I've not read them myself because he's written them in such a like an old English, like it's hard for me to get into. But I've heard that Galadriel is a great leader during all these old wars, but that they never gave me the impression from people talking about it that she was ever an actual warrior on the battlefield. And if she was, then why was it such a big deal for Éowyn to do what Éowyn did against the Witch King? But to me, that completely takes that scene away from her and the importance of her saying, well, guess what, jerk, I'm not a man, so take this knife in the face. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. And people are like, well, she's a woman and it's great and it's armor. And I'm like, yeah, but that completely diminishes this Éowyn's heroic moment. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and I'm reading it wrong, but that's
there's like three lines that I can pick out that people are using to justify it. And one is, Tolkien is kind of describing Galadriel, and it said in her youth, she was Amazon-like in the fact that she could, nearly match anyone else, including men, in athletic feats.
Yeah,
right?
Athletic being the key word.
The way I kind of see that is almost like the beginning of Wonder Woman 84. When they see them going through that, which was I hated that movie, but like that's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah, my mom was really athletic when she was young. She was a gymnast. She
exactly.
wasn't a freaking, on the front lines of the army. Like that's
Correct.
not the only thing athletic means.
There's another line where it's Galadriel looked upon them with the eye of a commander, kind of evaluating people. And so that, to me, it's like saying she's able to evaluate them and what they could do, like someone who was commanding, but not meaning she's a commander, just like kind of saying, oh, she was very dutiful in the way that she studied these people, kind of an analogy. And then the other one is there was a couple times she did fight, and it's like, I think she fought with her family in the aftermath of the kinslaying when Feanor killed a bunch of people that wouldn't build him boats. I forget exactly where it's at. It's sometime in the First Age, I think. But yeah, but in the entire Second Age, it actually has her in places where battles are not happening, specifically where battles aren't happening. And her brothers do go off to battle, and she doesn't. Yeah. She's doing other things. But
that's the thing, Ryan, is they're giving us very specific examples where maybe you could tie this in, but it's like what Az said on FNT. Like, we've seen this, we know what they're doing. I mean, Amazon literally just ruined the Wheel of Time. My grandpa's, rest in peace, my grandpa's favorite story of all time, the Wheel of Time. And now they're coming after my dad's. It's like, we just went through this, where it's like with the females, they're clearly lifting up to act more masculine. I don't even want to say lifting up. That's a wrong way to say it, because it's like women acting like women is just as great as men acting like men. That's the way it should be. But because Hollywood doesn't see it that way, they have to turn a Galadriel into an Elrond type character and turn Elrond into a Galadriel type character.
Well, it's another example of everything they've done, devaluing the stuff that came before to act like they're new and exciting, ignoring everything that came before. For example, like Éowyn versus Galadriel, or the best example I've ever heard is Black Panther saying that they're the first Black superhero movie, ignoring completely Blade, which saved Marvel from bankruptcy, which made the MCU possible 20 years prior or 25 years prior. And so you're devaluing one of the most pivotal movies in superhero history to have a cheap marketing campaign. And that's exactly what this feels like, is they're devaluing Éowyn's story for a cheap marketing campaign. And fans can see through that. And that's why there's been all this backlash, because they can absolutely see through it and they see the disingenuousness behind it, and they just don't want any part of it. It's been too many examples of the fans getting burned for situations like this. So even the normies are stepping up, and it's something incredible to see.
But that's the virtue signal, is Disney had nothing to do with that Blade movie. Otherwise, they'd take credit for it. But they weren't in the creative process of that. So they're going to make it seem like it was Black Panther. That was the revolutionary movie because that was their movie. That's
right.
What it is.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that they don't have the rights to the Silmarillion, to the Unfinished Tales, I think that actually makes it worse. Like, because then instead of having the rights to go back and do these things, it gives them more freedom in a way, because they don't have those. So all they can do, this is their only option, is to tell different stories.
Right.
It didn't happen. So they can make up whatever the fuck they want. They can literally do whatever they want that's not, exactly laid out in the Silmarillion, which is, we're talking about, I mean, how many pages is that? Like 300, something like that.
Roughly.
And it takes place over thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's almost like, because they don't have the rights to that, it makes it that much worse. Because now they can do anything they want.
It's so crazy because Amazon did such a good job with The Boys. And then it just fascinates me that sometimes these companies can do really good job. And you're like, wow, this is really good. And then other times the same company, you're like, what happened? What is going on here?
Well, they have different people in charge.
Yeah. And that's what I think it is. And I don't think, I kind of think that we get a little bit too in the weeds with Disney's doing this. And I mean, I'm guilty of that too. It's just an easy way to say it, because the powers that be. But Disney and Amazon, I don't think they care as much. I don't think the company itself cares as much about pushing some of the stuff as we think. I think they hire people. They hire people to do jobs, and oftentimes those people have different priorities. And so that's why you have something like Reacher, where I felt like that was pretty close to the source material, not spot on, but it's also kind of has to be an adaptation in the same way that, Peter Jackson adapted Lord of the Rings. But I think Reacher's pretty good. But then you have something like The Wheel of Time, which was an abomination. You have something like Lord of the Rings, it's going to be an abomination. And I like The Boys' first season. I hated the second season. But yeah, so it's just, sometimes I think we think that it's just a total conspiracy from the top on down, when in reality, sometimes people are just looking at the money, and then it's all these other people in charge of these projects.
There's just too many cooks in the kitchen, as they say. There's too many.
I agree with you only somewhat, Ryan, because in as an example of The Hobbit, I really do think there could have been good films there, but there was clearly just way too much studio influence that was involved there. And all these different studios, they freaking shoved in the love triangle because that was a big thing at that time, that the CGI had a lot to do with the budget and all of that. And there was just all these things where it was just clear that, and Peter Jackson was stressed out during the entire process of creating that. I know a lot of people don't like her in circles around here, but Lindsay Ellis made a great video on it where she's breaking down how nobody really on the cast was happy during that movie, because the studios were just breathing down their neck with everything they wanted. And so I think we're too quick, and myself included, I think I'm too quick to say, oh, it is Amazon's fault, or it is Rian Johnson's fault, or it's this person's fault, when really it could be the people in charge. Or sometimes I do think it could be like a Disney or an Amazon or that sort of thing. And unless you're behind the scenes, you just don't really know 100%.
Well, I think The Hobbit was 2 movies too long. It shouldn't have been a trilogy. And I know
studio influence.
I know everybody's going to probably disagree with me on this, because I know a lot of you said you like this movie, but I hated The Suicide Squad by James Gunn, and he said there was no studio influence. I just thought a lot of the jokes were unfunny, and it was just super cringy. And then the story kind of sucked. It was kind of like stealing the first story and then adding the James Gunn feel to it. And I know he said the studio didn't harass him at all, but then you have the first studio squad That's what Lethal calls it.
Yeah.
That's because the studio ruined David Ayer's, like he had everything written, and they're like, no, Deadpool was funny. You have to make this funny. And they recut 50% of the movie. They had to reshot and do everything. And that movie, I liked it, but it fucking sucked because the studio changed it. Well, the other one I hated compared to the one I liked, right? Even though it was not as good as it could have been, especially because I've seen all the other stuff. Had no studio influence, and I thought that was an awful movie, but that's because he his cringe jokes and his humor, and basically redid the first one, but with his flair.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, I don't know if you'd agree with this, Ryan, it feels almost like a chicken or the egg type thing, because it's like, although I do agree that, like, yeah, it's the people they're hiring, but it's Disney who's literally deciding to put like CRT curriculums inside like their training process for their employees. So it's like, I mean, they're creating a lot of this for sure. You know?
That's everywhere now. That is like a push in corporate America, and it's not just corporate America. It's everywhere, and it's this idea that if you don't do this, then you can get backlash. If you don't do this, there will be problems. So you have from Walmart to Coke to everywhere does diversity and equity training. You know, that's a thing. But I think the idea of, you know, Disney coming down and ordering that, you know, this Star Wars movie, you better, you know, make sure you emasculate the men and prop up the women isn't necessarily the case. I just think that so many people in the entertainment industry have come from the same echo chamber that's what so often happens. And it's a problem everywhere. Like when you look at big tech, the fact that the vast majority of these companies that ended up popping up and becoming big all are from like the same zip code almost, from a very liberal place where there happens to be a lot of people that work there that all think the same, and that's how it starts. And then they hire people that think alike, and it just goes on and on and on, even as the company grows.
Yeah, it's definitely a twofold issue. And we actually have a good question from the chat that I know Ryan answered, but it's good to talk about character and the differences between characters, and, you know, words, synonyms aren't necessarily the same things, even though they're often compared. But Arkasula, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Hey, Ryan, since you were in the Navy, can you weigh in on this? Is there a difference between a leader, general, admiral, and a commanding officer? And as a military man myself, I recognize the difference, but Ryan actually had some good comments in the chat from a military perspective I wanted to elaborate on.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference between a general or an admiral and a commanding officer. You know, a commanding officer, it really depends on the size of the unit. You know, whether you're talking about the CO of a base, you might be talking about a small command. And if it's a small command, your CO could be, you know, an 03. You know, it just kind of depends. Whereas if you're talking about like an aircraft carrier, you're definitely going to have, you know, an 06 in command or whatever. So it varies. But I did specify that a leader can be anyone. You know, a leader can be an E3 who, you know, just has the ability. You know, anyone can be a leader regardless of their rank. But yeah, there's definitely a difference between commanding officer or a general or an admiral.
Right. And the military rank structure kind of forces it to be all in the officer side. Like, it forces these commanders into the leadership role. But I actually experienced it in the military as well. Right when I was getting out of the military, there was an E3, E4 who was ordering around all the E7s, E6s, just because he was the subject matter expert. He was the one who knew everything. And that's kind of a good comparison to like Galadriel, for example. The original Galadriel definitely deserved to be in that position, but this new Galadriel, if they don't show her as the leader mentality, it won't justify her in the leadership or the commanding officer position. And so in a sort of fantasy world where it's not necessarily the military structure where it's kind of like band together in times of crisis, not necessarily like a formulated army in the instance of the United States, they have to give us a reason to justify her being in command. And I just don't have any hope or trust in Prime and Amazon to give us that justification to believe that she would be in that position. Now, Galadriel from the Lord of the Rings movies, I could absolutely see her in that position, but it's not something that I think she would choose to be in that position. And so it's a difference between a character, because the best leaders are the ones who don't want to be there is often a common trait. So it's just an interesting conversation to have, the difference between commander and leader.
Yeah.
There's so much wrong with this shit. It's not just female empowerment. It's not just all the racial shit they're doing.
Right.
They're taking things that happen over thousands of years and compressing them to a couple year period. Just the fact that you are having quote unquote young Galadriel and young Elrond makes no fucking sense.
Yep.
These
What are they,
characters
like 1,000 years old?
Well, Galadriel's like thousands of years older than Elrond. And it takes elves, I think, 75 to 100 years to reach maturity. And once you reach adulthood, you don't fucking age. There should be no like young adult Galadriel. And they definitely, like, her and Elrond would not be young at the same time.
Right.
This is not Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
No,
It's something else.
Yeah,
Well,
and I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to jump in. I knew Tuggs had to leave, so if she had any final thoughts or anything to plug, it was great having you.
No final thoughts, but this is a good stream. I'm glad I was invited. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was great having you.
Yeah. All right. I'll catch you guys later.
All right.
Bye, Tuggs.
Sorry, what were you saying, Johnny?
I think it's interesting because I don't think the backlash would be as strong as it is, although it would be strong. But I don't think it would be as strong if everything we're seeing took place 20 years ago. Because of, like, I think there's different degrees of what people are upset. So take, for example, like the black dwarf with no beard. She should have a beard based on the lore and based on the fact that she's a dwarf. It doesn't even make sense that her skin's that dark. That just doesn't make sense. So that we can objectively look at with just one screenshot and go, that's not right. But as far as like the Elrond and the Galadriel stuff, it's like, why is Elrond put in a field like looking all feminine and such? Why is Galadriel the one who looks like she's a warrior? Those are ones where we're like kind of making a little bit more assumptions about what they're doing with those characters. But with that being said, I feel like we're fully justified in doing that because I haven't forgot what Hollywood's been doing over the last 5 years. And I see the things that the producers and all the creative heads involved are saying about it. But I think that's an example of something where we'd see that screenshot. Maybe we wouldn't get as upset about it years ago. But nowadays, it's just like, how many times do you have to see this song and dance before you just start to make those assumptions? You know?
Yep.
No, exactly. And it's very much a product of its time, just like you were talking about. I fully believe a Lord of the Rings show that happened in maybe 2004, 2005, no one would give a shit of the content of the trailer or the pictures of it. They'd just be so excited for something more. But we've been burned so many times in so many different fandoms that we can't trust Hollywood, and we start to see through their bullshit. And I think this is an example of that.
I feel like it's also extra irritating for fans because of who this all came from. This came from Tolkien. If we were talking about George R.R. Martin's work, that'd be different because the guy politically, core values wise, he's much, much different than Tolkien. But when you're talking about Tolkien, you're talking about a guy who hated industrialization. He hated, he just loved escapism. You know, he was all about escapism. He has so many quotes about that. And this show is already giving us direct quotes from the creative heads that they're about the exact opposite. They want to remind us of the world that we live in today. It needs to look more like the modern world. And it's like, that is not at all what Tolkien believed in. And you're doing that to his work. So I feel like that's why it's even more so irritating because they're taking advantage of a man who isn't there to speak on his work. Yeah.
No, and I think the most important argument of all the arguments that Tolkien's literature was more important or in a way different than all the others is the fact that he designed it as a mythology for England. I think that is by far the best argument to keep this core to his original ideas, because someone who studied mythology as much as I have, and it's a very core part of my own book series, is mythology is very much based on the region you come from and shapes that region's morality and the way that they approach the world. And it's very important to have that structure, especially in those ancient times, to address the problems of their day. And every region throughout the entire world had racially, ethno-state type stories like that. And that was important for them to understand themselves. And mythology is like, if you made a Greek mythology movie and made it 100% diverse, I'd have a problem with that, because it is so Greek at the core of it, and it's so important to Greek culture that you wouldn't want to taint that. You'd want to make it as accurate as possible. And I think that, number one, above everything else, sets Tolkien's universe apart from all the other pop culture universes that we love, is because of the goal at the end of the day. That was his number one priority, was to make it a mythology for England when they didn't have one, because it's the soul of the country that he's trying to rebuild. And when you take out that soul, when you take out the morality behind it, you bastardize it in such a sense that maybe not to the same extent as Greek mythology, but England itself loses a little bit of its soul when you bastardize it in this sense.
Right, right. Well, it's also like I just think they're going about it wrong, because it's like, obviously, if you want to just relate it to the most minute surface level ever, like, white people have a lot of stuff they can relate to because we have a lot of entertainment. So your next thought process should be, why don't we create more original content for other kinds of people? That's what you should do, rather than going, how about we just steal other people's stuff that isn't really theirs, but act like it is. It's like, because we could do that same thing to, Black people's entertainment with like freaking Black Panther, Blade, or whatever you want. And we would reject that. We wouldn't want it. If you were creative and made something specifically for someone rather than just stealing other stuff, we would respect it more.
Wasn't there someone who said it last night, I think on Friday Night Tights, about African lore or something, that they can do? They can do all that stuff, but instead they just borrow from white people. Just steal it for no reason.
The thing is, I kind of like reject the notion. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Black Panther. It had nothing to do with the fact that there were so many Black people in it. It had everything to do with the fact that I thought it was just kind of mediocre. And it, like, I thought the CGI was shit. And I thought that T'Challa was far better in Civil War than he was in his own movie, and far more compelling in Civil War. I agree. Those are the reasons I didn't like it that much. But that movie made over $1 billion. That's not just because Black people went out and saw it, it's because a lot of people went out and saw it. Of course, the clever marketing definitely helped with that. The fact that it was released in February, I'm sure, helped as well. But, there were Black Star Wars fans before Lando Calrissian showed up. I bet a bunch of us have watched Kung Fu movies, even though there wasn't very many white people. The entire notion of, that people can't be a fan of something, or that we need to make sure people see themselves or are represented, I think it's bullshit. I think it's something that's only started in the last couple decades. And before that, no one really gave a shit. So I don't know. Does that mean that, maybe if it is like Tyler Perry movies, is it going to be a higher percentage of Black people maybe that go see that rather than an all-white cast something? Probably. But that doesn't mean that it's just exclusive to somebody.
Right.
Well, there's different levels of relatability, it isn't just the most surface level things, like literally the surface of our bodies, our skin tone. It's like, a character, and are they the kind who pursues, who pushes through adversity, or are they one who's a reluctant leader? Like, all kinds of things like that you could still relate to. Even example, dumb one, I know most people within the Geeks and Gamers team didn't really like it, but the new Godzilla movie, there's like no masculine men in that. And as a very masculine person, you'd think I'd just be like, oh, whatever, it didn't even really bother me, because who I did relate with? Godzilla. Because Godzilla was masculine as hell. And he absolutely wanted to win. Right. He wanted to be the top alpha. And I'm like, I relate to this lizard. And I'm not going, why is it the white lizard? No, I just love the freaking giant lizard because I can even relate to its character,
I am all on board on being Godzilla. I mean, relating to Godzilla. but to carry on what you were saying, young Ripa's favorite characters, Flash. Why? Ripa was fast. Flash is fast.
Mhm.
That's he said it maybe 1,000 times. I've heard him say that.
It
Well,
was
it's
before Wally West got turned into a black kid.
Yeah, well, it's not nerd culture, but the person I relate to the most, or I guess I look up to and I want to aspire to be like, is Kobe Bryant. He's a black man, but he's the hardest working black man I've ever known, you know? And so it's like, I want to be like that. I want to be that driven. I want to be that, you know? So I aspire to be like that. It's like just the fact that people just want to boil it down to these most stupid surface level things is just, it's sad. It's really sad. And it makes me feel sorry for them because it's like, this is how you see the world. Like, that's really sad.
Yeah, that's what makes Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Jerry Rice so good. Is they all had that same work ethic. All they wanted to do was be the best.
All better than Lechump right there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to turn this into a sports stream, but you know what I'm saying. It's just
I was
that
waiting for
inspiring
Ryan to jump in there.
that inspiration comes from a deeper place, man.
Well, the example I'll go ahead, Ryan.
Just real quick, speaking of sports, I actually have to pop off and take care of some stuff. But thanks for having me on the stream. It was really fun talking to everybody. I think Blabbering Collector needs to talk more. I know we're not talking about Harry
I don't know
Potter.
anything about Lord of the Rings, and the Gollum biting Frodo's finger off is no. It freaks me out.
And then he ends up with only 4 fingers, just like Sauron.
Yeah, does Gandalf ever help him get a new finger or something? Like, what happens after they just walks around with one finger missing?
You just want like a Voldemort Peter Pettigrew hand type of thing.
Yes,
That's what you're
thank you. It needs to be fixed. It freaks me out. It's like,
But I'm gonna bounce. Got a couple things to do. But thanks for having me on, man.
Of course, it was great to have you, man. You have anything you want to plug?
Nah, you guys know where to find me. So
I'm modest.
Later, Ryan.
All right, see you guys.
Take care, man.
Bye.
See you, bro.
We're gonna pressure Blabbling Collector to talk more because I actually got to bounce too. But it was super awesome to come on. Thank you so much for inviting me on the whim. I love Lord of the Rings, and y'all are cool people, so it's fun to talk.
Of course, it was great to have you, man. I appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, it's not related to anything we're talking about, but if you like Nintendo stuff, I have a channel called Johnny64. It's just my name on the screen there. And other than that, you can find me on the Geeks and Gamers pages, Gaming with Geeks, where I'm regularly destroying Jeremy on Splatoon 2. Pretty awesome.
Don't you play on Mario Kart on Sundays too, right?
I do, but that I'm still working on. He's still better than me there, but I'm catching up. I'm catching up fast.
Oh, he gets his ass whooped on Mario.
Just Google.
We all do. We all do Mario Kart. Everyone does.
If you guys ever played Smash Brothers, that's where I would beat you all. That's my game of choice.
Oh, are you sure? Are you sure? Okay.
I'm Snake. I can beat anyone with Snake. I'm a badass with Snake.
Because I'm an elite Smash as Bowser, and I was playing in tournaments too, so it'd probably be a good fight. So I think I could do it. I want to, but Jeremy's always saying, "Oh, the lag."
The online is terrible.
Oh, that's his thing. He does. If
you're hardwired in, it's not that bad.
He's even said that during Mario Kart. Okay, like
yeah. Maybe times I've jumped on, it's been unplayable.
Yeah, we'll probably have it at a meetup. If you go to any meetups, I'm going to try to make all of the upcoming meetups. We'll see if we can get a Smash game going. That'll be fun.
Oh,
I need to know which week the October one's going to be in because I have the whole month requested off as of right now. and my boss is like, listen, I need to know what week you want off so I can actually get these people their days off. And I was like,
last I heard from Gary is it was going to be sometime middle October. Again, you don't have the exact week.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
but it narrows it down a little bit more.
It'll be like one of these two, and then they'll be like, nope, it's the final week. Boom. And you're like, fuck you, motherfuckers.
Well, I'll definitely be there at that one, so we gotta test our skills against each other, Johnny.
Hell yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Johnny.
And then there were 4.
Where was that next one going to be at?
Florida, Orlando, I think.
Yeah.
Well, there'll probably be another one in Vegas.
Yeah, I think the Vegas one might happen just before that, but there'll be like closer to each other than
You
normal.
might see me and Biggles there at the one in Vegas. So
Yeah, I'll go pick him up and drive him out there. And
Yeah.
Jed, if you want, or other Jed, if you want, I'll go pick you up
Yeah.
too.
Jed
Oh, I
2.0.
appreciate that. I'm part of Geeks and Gamers now, so I'm gonna have to be there anyway. So
Oh yeah, good point.
yeah.
Motherfuckers made a tabletop thing and I wasn't part of it. I
Yeah.
hate you, Jeremy. But no, Ryan told me to get in touch with the guy, so I've been kind of talking to him. So who knows if I'll be helping
Yeah.
with that. Fuck you, Jeremy, if you're here.
No, he's always, he's like they're always lurking in all the chats. I was talking to him the other time. Gary and Jeremy are always lurking. Remember this?
Well, this is a good opportunity. I want to shout out the chat. This is actually, I know we had some really high YouTubers on here, so it might not mean much to them, but we actually hit record numbers for Sons of the Phoenix. We got up to 30 live viewers, and I actually got 11 new subscribers so far. So that's
Hell yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
You saw me. I was pimping it out on Twitter today. So
You were. Well, not to take it back too far, but like what Johnny was talking about, how it's all superficial. My favorite movie of the last year was Last Night in Soho. And that was nearly an entirely female cast. And the entire thing that I connected with, the main character especially, was her struggle and her arc. And I go into more detail on that on my review on my channel and the Geeks and Gamers review of Last Night in Soho, in that it's a very relatable mentality of struggling with depression and loss in a way to reshape the way you perceive reality. And nothing about that movie was presented as, oh, the audience, you have to be women to enjoy this. It was just a story about depression and loss that I connected with. And that's something I really appreciated about it. And it's the prime example that I always use, that I don't have to relate or physically look like someone to relate to them. It's just an asinine approach of simplicity for a character. It's their struggle and their drive that make them the great characters that we know and love. It's their heart and their soul that fans connect with, not what they look like. There's been plenty of, straight up ugly characters, if nothing else, that people love because they have a good story and a good character. And that's something that I think these Hollywood people fundamentally misunderstand and bastardize in such a sense that it's impossible to relate to their characters because it's all about what you can see, not what they are.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't have said that any better myself.
I've been practicing. Blabbering Collector knows on the Harry Potter stream we did last week. I was in full writer's mode, and
Yeah. I was like, wow, there's a reason you're a writer.
Yeah.
I listened to that stream, but I
You did?
wasn't live. Yeah, I watched it afterwards.
Oh,
I was
didn't
going to
tell you,
make
Blabbering.
fun of Harry Potter, but I actually like the stream. So
Yeah, he was like, he was waiting for him to say some shit.
Well, I didn't tell you, Blabbering, but I did a clips video of that and posted that on the channel, and it's actually doing really well. It's one of my highest.
I saw it when it first posted, but I never checked afterwards. I should.
Yeah, it's doing really well. Top 10 best videos for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Happy to help.
It's just a
That stream did really well, too.
Even though I
had
hardly said
my
anything.
Monday live streams. So. Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours now. This would be the opportunity if anyone else needs to jump out. I'm willing to go for as long as y'all are willing to stay, but it's, customary to say, hey, if
Well,
you all are busy or...
we didn't go over those other things you made me watch. So we have to
We didn't talk anything about Doctor Who, really.
We have to do until this girl texts me that I have to come over. Okay.
Okay.
That's what we have to do.
his booty call for the day, so.
Yes. All right, so let's talk Doctor Who then.
All right, we actually have a question from the chat first. One
Yeah.
semester in Hogwarts or one semester at Xavier's School for Gifted Children?
Hogwarts.
School of the Gifted. School of the Gifted. School of the Gifted.
Hogwarts.
School of the Gifted.
That's a hard one to pick, man.
Harry
Yeah.
Potter's lame. Rather be a mutant with cool powers than
So Michael's
I want to be a mutant. Yeah.
Michael's
You
actually
get
a friend of
hunted for
mine.
being a mutant. No thanks.
Right. Michael's actually a friend of mine, and he asked me this question when we went to see Uncharted the other night. And Blabbering's gonna be mad, but I chose Xavier's School for Gifted Children as well.
It's
Traitor! I feel like I get the Kylo Ren meme just going traitor.
It's not an actual school. You don't have to go to school.
Yeah.
Those Hogwarts people had to go to school.
Yeah, they had to do all these
go.
exams
How
and stuff.
lame. You're going to school. You're
Whatever.
not going to the world of Harry Potter where you can just go hang out at all their stores and stuff. You have to go to school.
Yeah, you actually have to go to school over at Hogwarts. Xavier's,
Well-
you can skip school.
No, in the early movies, at least they showed them actually in classes. The younger students, at least.
Yeah, the
actually going to
younger
school.
ones, not the.
I hear a puppy.
Yeah, that's my little pain in the butt. If you get
I was gonna say,
anybody
like, I
watch,
hear things.
yeah, if anybody watched Thursday Night Throwdown, you hear him in the background sometimes, or on
What kind of puppy
Matt's.
is he?
He's only a year old, so
Oh, okay, that's acceptable. I have very
Yeah,
strict.
I think
standards
Biggles
on
has seen
dogs.
him. So
I have very strict standards on dogs. If it's a
Yeah.
puppy, it's okay. But if it's like Chihuahua size or wiener dog size, it's not for me. It's a rat with delusions of grandeur. Is this going to
Yeah.
grow bigger than
It's
that?
not a real dog.
yeah, he's a
Basically a
little
cat.
guy. Yeah.
Is it at least going to grow bigger than that?
Yeah, he's gonna get bigger. So
Okay, good.
He's almost bigger than I can carry him now. So
Oh, perfect. No, that's the dog you want. I want a yellow lab. But growing up, we had 3 different names for little dogs, like Chihuahuas and whatnot. There was rat dogs. That was a common one. There was coyote bait.
Mhm.
There were some crazy people who would pin them out for coyotes. And my personal favorite is, I might be a little sadistic in saying this, but I've always had the unearthly desire to punt a Chihuahua. So
I actually did that one time.
Makeshift footballs. A Chihuahua makes for a
Why?
great football.
There's a really good question in the chat. Just
What we
point
got?
that out.
Our next
What
question.
answer?
I would be greedy with that one. So
Is it this one or the next one?
Yeah,
it's,
that's it.
it's that one.
Okay.
It's that one.
What do you guys think?
I would be greedy. So
I would
That's
take
your superpower? Just be greedy?
no.
That's a
I
great
would be
superpower.
Superman because you get all the powers. Okay.
no, but it doesn't say or have super. Doesn't say superpowers. It just says superpower.
Yeah.
It's true.
But Superman's superpower is having all his powers. So
That's
you
true.
know.
Well, then what if you're Superman and you're in a red sun? Then you have no powers.
Yeah, but he's still Superman if he's out of the red sun, you know.
Yeah, but
Well, what
if
if it's
you're
like
stuck on a
that
red
new
sun, you got
Superman who
nothing.
gets like in prison with no
And-
powers with a bunch of men?
Oh, yeah, that's not even
That's what happened.
Superman. It's his kid.
No,
That's-
that was Superman.
No, that was.
Oh, I didn't know about that, man.
Yeah, no, they had a thing about him getting
I haven't
anally
watched
raped.
any DC. I haven't read any DC books in about a couple years. So
Whenever I answer this question, everyone disagrees with me. I think mental powers are the best option because if you cultivate telekinesis specifically to a far enough degree, you can, reshape atoms and be able to do like transfiguration
yeah.
and like mental powers. If you just have mental powers, you could end up doing anything if you
You
study
can
hard
rule
enough.
the world if you had mental powers.
Telepathy, if you had a little bit of like a illusionary powers, make them think they're seeing something.
Look,
you know,
Biggles
or-
is like his chin. I know that
Well,
look. I've seen that.
You
look
know
too many
what?
times.
You
Or
know
change
what?
memories.
You know what? If you had Rogue's powers, you could just steal your bitch ass powers.
But then you'd never be able to touch anyone. And I know how much you like getting laid, so you'd never be able to do that
Yeah,
again.
Biggles loves that shit. Hey, Lyndon, what's up, brother?
I'd wear gloves.
Hi, Lyndon.
No glove, no love, right? That's
Yeah.
how it
Hey, it's
goes.
great to see you, Lyndon. I actually messaged you on Teams if you're available.
Yeah.
Hop on. To answer the question, I would apparate. Just to be apparate anywhere, whenever you want to go. Just move.
So boring. Come
I
on,
know, but
Blabbering.
it's
Spit
perfect.
on you.
It would be so perfect. If you want to go to Paris, okay, I'm here. Cool.
So
But
you'd be
Go to
like
China. There I go.
be like Looper, you know.
Rogue's powers would be really cool, but I'd still want super speed.
Yeah,
That'd be cool
Flash
too. Actually, that'd be
would
fun.
really
It's
good.
wee.
Especially
Or
because
flying.
all I'd have to do is go really fast and poke someone and they die. Yeah, you don't like anybody, you're just like super fast run at them and like barely touch them with a pinky and they're dead.
Do you know what my favorite Flash
would be so-
superpower is?
What?
It's his
That's-
metabolism. He can eat whatever the fuck he wants
Hmm.
and still get
Yeah, but if he
ass.
bangs a chick, he's over in 2 seconds. Like, like
Whatever, man.
That's never
At least
been confirmed.
all that matters is you get
And then Clark's got to wear a kryptonite condom if he bangs Lois. But, you know, if there's like Red Sun, he can nail her. But you know.
Hey, that's still better than Peter Parker in that whole thing that he like impregnated what's her bucket, Mary Jane, and it like hatched in her stomach and like burst open her stomach and she died because she got impregnated with the spider eggs.
That was the last world.
I'd rather take, you know, a 2-pump chump as style 38 seconds Flash than Peter Parker with Mary Jane.
Well, that wasn't like main timeline line.
That wasn't main timeline. That was another.
Oh, wasn't? Okay.
New timeline.
That was a what if.
Normal Spider-Man banged so many chicks.
Oh, dude, he had Black Cat. He banged Kitty Pryde. He banged MJ.
To be
Dude, Peter was a pimp. He banged all those chicks, man.
Now, Kitty Parker or whatever from 2005, X-Men Last Stand, I would bang. But Kitty Pryde right now, I'm not a big fan of banging him.
So let's talk about Peter Parker. He's a Mets fan. I'm a Mets fan, right? So there's that. He's from Queens. Queens is my favorite part. I'm from a different part of New York, but Queens is my favorite place in all of America. And then I just have so much in common with Peter. Like Peter was smart. I was smart. I think all my brain damage now has probably ruined that, but I think I'm still pretty smart even for someone who's had 11 concussions and my brain's all messed up and I have issues with my brain, but like emotion wide, I don't do emotions like that kind of stuff other than rage.
I don't
know
get how you
works.
survive that many concussions. I've been in so many instances that I should have severe brain damage, but I've never actually gotten hurt. I've never broken a bone.
Maybe that's your superpower.
Yeah.
I'm invincible, man. I'm like Tanjiro. My head is a freaking rock, man.
I crashed a four-wheeler once, and it was bad. I was 16. I crashed a four-wheeler, and I got thrown in front of the four-wheeler, and then it rolled over top of me and kept going. And the worst I had was some lacerations on my knee. I still have the scars today, but they weren't bad. Like I didn't go to the hospital or anything, but that should have been like
dirt in it and walked it off.
Hey, that's where I grew up. And the hospital was 2 hours away. So yeah, we rubbed dirt and everything. It's actually pretty good. I've got it's worked for me at least. Well, there are those other subjects that Biggles wanted to get to. I think I told you about Moon Knight and Doctor Strange are the ones I talked about with you, right?
Yeah, and one other one, a Jurassic World, which I watched the Jurassic World one, and I'll say this: why are the dinosaurs in charge? Like, you know,
because she pressed the red button.
I know.
I'm like, that was easy.
Do you know how much like military might we have that these dinosaurs wouldn't stand a chance? Like, how'd they take over the world? And then they're like taking out planes. Like, what? Come on. We could have already taken back the planet.
I can't remember who was talking about it, but they keep acting like velociraptors are better than tanks and guns.
Drinker said that too.
It was Drinker. That's who it was.
But
God, I love him.
But yeah, why are they in charge? Like, did we forget? Like, if they came to America, we'd take them down in a second. We're like, get out of here. We got more guns than you. Come on. And we've already seen that guns can take down dinosaurs in the last movie.
We did.
And then in the first movie as well. So it's like, well, we have all this military might and these dinosaurs are taking over. So I think it's hilarious that the dinosaurs rule the world. Like, I understand, like, if they like just came and like you didn't, like they just showed up because they pushed the red button, right? And now they're eating all the people. And it's like, oh, well, now you just see a bunch of dead dinosaurs everywhere because they're fighting back, right? But it's like they could have ambushed like California where they're not allowed to have guns and just have California taken out. And then
that would be awesome to see California just get.
I wouldn't argue.
Then the second California comes or the dinosaurs pass California into Arizona, they just get taken down and there's just
if they come in AZ, those things would get fucking annihilated.
They would get wrecked over here.
Yeah, everybody here has guns.
I feel like it's just gonna end up being a dumb, fun action movie in the style like Moonfall or whatever. Like, make no sense, but be kind of fun at the same time. That's kind of how I felt about
dinosaurs, right? I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to I'm going to ignore all the stupid shit that the dinosaurs are in charge and just be like, yay, dinosaurs! You know, I love dinosaurs. I don't even care. But yeah, Moon Knight looked cool.
So you'll actually go to that one with me, like you did on like Ghostbusters?
Yeah. I'll go see that one with you. I'm down.
So I was like, hey man, I want to go. Because I tried to get Culture and him to go to see Ghostbusters with me. I was like, oh man.
I didn't see that movie till it was free on my TV.
Yeah.
I thought Ghostbusters was all right. You know, good, better than everything else.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was good for being free.
Yeah, it was good for being free.
Well, I know I didn't talk to you about it, Biggles, but something actually came up that's more important than all those trailers, and I wanted to talk about it briefly. Is there was some Miss Marvel drama a few weeks ago about them, the characters not being dark enough, and apparently something like that has come after Doctor Strange. Did you guys hear about this?
That.
Oh yeah. American Chavez is not dark enough. Well, she shouldn't be in the movie anyways.
Nope.
Shut up, you racist
She should
bastard.
not.
Yeah. She shouldn't be in the fucking movie anyway. I'm like...
That's a perfect example of you can never satisfy these people that they're pandering to. Is the fans will come if you give them a good story, but these people that they're pandering to, they're always going to have a more strict requirements on why they like something, and it's never going to be enough.
These people that cry about like the color of their skin and all that shit are the most racist people ever, because all they care about is the color of the character's skin.
Yep.
She's the right ethnicity. She's just a little too light. So that's whitewashing. That is fucking retarded. I'm just going to say it.
The politically correct term is fucking cowman, because
well, it was brought up during the whole Madam Web situation with casting someone who wasn't blind and being ableist.
Oh my!
And when I was doing my video on that, I did a little bit more research, and apparently the Madam Web that they're basing it off of was originally a Spider Woman. The Cassandra, no, it wasn't Cassandra. It was the other one.
It's not Jessica.
Yeah, the younger one was initially a normal Spider Woman who could see, but when she became Madam Web, she couldn't see. So in my video, I was just like, well, fuck, if we're going to go this whole thing where you have to 100% look like a character, they're going to cast an actress who can see, and then halfway through filming, when they get to when she's blind, they're going to blind that fucking actress just so she can do it. And that's the end of this rabbit hole. That's where this ends. It's never going to be enough. And so they're going to be like, well, I know she could see at the beginning, but she's blind now, and you're not blind, so it's not enough. You got to see at the beginning, but not see at the end. It's just an endless rabbit hole. Actors pretend for a living. We need to let them pretend. And that's this whole thing with America Chavez. As much as I don't like America Chavez and her character, this actress looks like she does the part pretty well, as comparatively as possible with this dog shit character. But she looks well enough the part. But they're like, she's a couple shades too light. It's like that Family Guy meme where the police officer shows up and looks at Peter, and he's got this graph of how dark a skin color is. To be like, you're fine with white, and you got a problem with your black, and he's just checking Peter's skin color to see if he should overreact. And that's what I feel like with this is someone had that chart of skin color they put up to America Chavez, this actress, and it's like, you know what? You're just a tad too light. I have a problem. And they've harassed this 15-year-old girl. She's 15 years old. They've harassed her off social media, and they have evidence for it. It's not like the Rose Tico situation where they just claimed this shit. They have receipts for her being chased off social media. And that, I think, is horrible. As much as I hate America Chavez, she's a 15-year-old girl, was offered an opportunity to be in a Marvel movie. At 15, I'd sell my soul to be in a Marvel movie. I don't give a shit.
Only if I played Spider-Man.
You had to fight me for it.
I would win that fight. 15-year-old me can fight.
I know. So
not as good as this me, but that one can fight. I'd do it.
Yeah, but I don't blame her whatsoever. And that's why it's a horrible thing. It's woke on woke crime at its fundamental base.
They just kind of eat each other alive.
Exactly. And that's actually been kind of funny to see with the, the Uncharted movie. I did a review on it, but I didn't go into detail about it. But apparently some people were criticizing the movie because all the villains were people of color and or female.
Oh,
and so people were pissed off about that. The only two wholly good guys were straight white men. Everyone else was bad.
Tragedy.
So they were losing their
I love it.
shit.
Love it.
It was a dumb, fun movie. Like it was not smart by any means, but it was enjoyable. It's one of those like turn your brain off type ones. But it was just funny to see the reaction because some of the marketing did go into that. Like, hey, we race swapped this character. Oh, see how many women we have in the movie. Oh, see the main villain is a woman of color, and it wasn't enough for the Twitter mob. They're gonna go after you no
Never
matter
enough.
what you do.
They
So
shoulda
why
got
not focus
somebody-
on the fans that are paying you? Because these woke Twitter mobs aren't part of the Doctor Who community. They're not part of the Marvel community. They're not going to be buying comics. They're just going to complain about shit. And as long as you pander to them, you're never going to win because you're going to alienate fans, and it's never going to be enough for these types of people. So it's a no-win scenario that Hollywood constantly gets itself entwined into. And at this point, it's funny to watch. At the end of the day, that's all it is woke on woke crime, and you have to sit back and laugh and hope that 20 years from now it fixes itself. But right now, you're so dead inside watching all your franchises die that you just have to laugh a little bit inside. It's kind of where
I died on the inside already. All my franchises are dead.
I'm just waiting for them to like rip apart the new Fantastic Beasts movie because without Johnny Depp or whatever else is this case for J.K. Rowling's transphobic, they're just kind of for the entire time. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm totally okay with someone criticizing someone's political opinion, but Twitter took it way too far, especially with J.K. Rowling. They put out a doxed her address.
Mhm.
It was just insane.
People are
Can't
nuts.
stand anybody just because they think differently. It's just a no-go.
And
I've
the
seen
best
that
part,
before. It doesn't
we
end
get
well.
called the Nazis, right? We get called the names.
But they're the
Oh,
ones
I've
who
been
are acting
called
this
it.
way.
I don't know how many times within the past few years, ever since I started YouTube. So,
I got called it within the first week of having my channel. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Within the first week, I was called a Nazi.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, it was Biggles. I remember that.
I probably said some troll comment on like the first one I commented on.
He does some troll
Well,
shit.
I was already in tune with Geeks and Gamers, and like Ryan especially is like, don't listen to these people. He was coaching me through it a little bit, and he's like, you do what you believe is right, and their criticism doesn't matter. So I was already in that headspace. So when I got all these terrible comments, I'm just like, well, I still have a 90% approval rate on my videos, so I'm doing something right. And so these onesie twosies I can mock, but I don't have to take it to heart. And that's something that is very strange for me because I've always cared what other people think. But in this YouTube sphere, I've been able to detach that self from myself and not care. And that's been kind of interesting to see, that evolution of sorts within my own character.
I just want you to know, I read part of your article that you wrote for Geeks and Gamers on Doctor Who, and I scrolled down and I was like, way too much reading for me. So far it's written well, but I can't read. Okay, I'm dyslexic. I can't do it.
I like long articles. Blabbering Collector, she puts out like 3 articles a day, and I feel bad. It's like I do 3 a week. I'm just like, am I not doing as well as her? I like.
Hey, when you texted Alex today, I'm like, bro, I'm not writing anything today. I'm dead today. And he's like, that's fine. You put like 9 out the other day. I was like, yeah.
Well, this is, look at this. I put that on my Discord. That little one right there. I was just
That's
like
perfect criticism.
I was like, both are in my favor because Ryan told me about a lot of that stuff when I was starting out too. So it was Ryan and Culture and Diggles and a bunch of the other guys that were helping me out. Comics too. That were helping me when I first started, and so it was just
I know Biggles will be the only one of us who doesn't get this reference, but the Doctor Who Shakespeare episode.
Oh, JK.
You can totally see that William Shakespeare having that mentality. That's a great episode.
You know what I said about this? I said they need to bring Tom back for like an episode and bring David back too.
Tom Baker?
Yeah, they need to bring Tom back for like one more last episode.
He might be a little too old.
He's the curator.
Come with this little moped.
Yeah, I want to see Tom come back for one more like proper, not this bullshit that we have. Proper.
No.
Captain Karen.
I was talking to someone about it on the Geeks and Gamers Twitter post about that Doctor Who article I did. He's saying that he stops at Peter Capaldi, right, and turns it off before he regenerates. And I told him when I watch that episode, I switch over to a YouTube video that re-edits the show to make it Peter Capaldi regenerating into the curator. and then shows a scene from the 50th anniversary.
Oh,
And that's
God.
one of my
Ooh,
favorite
Can you
things.
send me
It's-
that? I want to see
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's got so few views. It's not like 25 views,
We're gonna
but
fix
it
that.
is so well done. I got to shout it out. I got to bring it up right now. But
Yeah,
it
let's
is
watch
just
it. Can we watch it? Is that how it works?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we can watch it.
So where
Let
is
me,
the Shakespeare one, by the way?
That's in season 3.
Yeah, that was in season 3. It
So
was
I have
really
to go
it was
back to a
good. Though.
doctor. I have no idea who he is.
But you
David
get
Tennant is
Martha
one of the
Jones,
best.
and she was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, Martha Jones and David Tennant were
Martha
great.
was better than bloody Amy. Oh.
So they
Fuck
always-
You don't
you.
like Amy?
I don't.
I'm
Amy
sorry,
got
Jeff,
annoying.
but
So,
Told him to get out, and he did.
so each doctor has their
That
own
was me.
assistant, right?
Amy got annoying after a bit. Okay, I was just
fuck you.
So
Amy is my favorite companion.
you are so Scottish.
Me?
No, that's what they always say to Amy. You are.
Oh
so
yeah, they
Scottish.
do.
We
I'm
love
actually
Amy.
Scottish.
I miss Amy. They
But
need
if
to
it wasn't
bring
for
some
Amy
good
and
character
Rory,
in.
you wouldn't have River. So I'm appreciative of them. So.
Right.
So each person has their own assistant.
Oh,
Um,
sorry, I'm probably making
Companion.
a shit ton of noise right now,
Companion.
but they have
Sorry.
several. So Matt Smith has 2 companions, which is actually low. David Tennant had 3. So
Mhm.
it's usually,
And which doctor is that?
Donna is the best. One of the best.
I love fucking Donna. So this is the 10th Doctor, so the Doctor right before Matt Smith. So the norm per se is a Doctor gets 3 seasons and a companion gets 1 season. There are variations of that in New Who, but that's kind of like the template that they like to go off of.
Whoa,
Okay.
Sarah Jane had many. So
Oh God, Sarah Jane was great.
Sarah Jane with Tom Baker. Oh,
So, Biggles, I know you don't know who this is, but in 1971, I believe it was, Sarah Jane became the companion for the 3rd Doctor, John Pertwee, and they were a great team. And then the Doctor regenerated into the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker, and she kept going with this new Doctor.
3 and
they were
4 are my 2 favorite classics.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone, that's great. Everyone I talk to mocks John Pertwee. They say he's one of the worst, and he's
No, he's one of the best.
He's
Like,
I will rock
incredible.
He is
all
awesome.
the doctors that are not Matt Smith.
Mm.
I said his name right this time, right?
You
Yeah,
did.
he said
Yeah, you
Matt
did.
Stone.
You did. I'm proud of you, bro.
Hey, I am not good at any of this, okay? I
Matt
cannot read
Pebble.
the names when they show up, and I skipped the intro after the first time I watched it. And
You
I don't know.
skipped the intro. It's so
What the
cool.
fuck is wrong with you?
It's what he does, man.
I am not a Doctor Who guy.
He
okay?
he skips shit when he goes and like he plays the game. He's like, "Oh, get past this fucking bullshit."
I'm
and
trying.
skips all
Yeah,
that shit.
they're giving.
And
me
you have no idea
story.
what's going on in the
hitting-
game.
I'm hitting space, like or
He's hitting
speed loss.
space,
I'm like,
and I've seen it for real.
skip,
He's
skip,
hitting
skip,
space
skip,
and he's
skip.
skipping all that shit because we were trying to make Lethal jealous to get that picture. He's like, get past all this fucking bullshit. And he's hitting all the buttons and everything else.
I just want the meat and potatoes, okay, and then to go.
Well, I do think if you like Matt Smith, you're gonna love David Tennant. They have enough.
Yeah, they go hand in
similarity.
hand. You can't like
Yeah.
one, not the other.
You know,
And that's the
Holly
four guy?
got screwed.
That's the
This
9th or the 10th. So
Yeah.
right before
10,
where you're
11.
at.
Holly
Yeah.
got
So
screwed.
he's seasons.
4?
Yeah, season 2, 3, and 4
Okay.
are David Tennant. If you like Matt Smith, you're gonna like David Tennant.
Okay.
But I actually have that video up in a second here. I'm probably gonna get copyright claimed on it, but I don't give a shit
Yeah.
because this is such a
Oh,
great
dude,
video.
do you know how many copyright claims have come on my house in the last 2 years?
All right, so Biggles,
have-
just for your knowledge, this video is about the Doctor after where you were at. So you're on 11. This is the 12th, regenerating into the woman we don't speak about,
Yeah.
and this is
Voldemort?
No.
yeah. So
George
this
Clooney's
is
Batman.
so this is an alternate. Someone edited this on YouTube to have a better ending than becoming the woman Doctor. Here, let me
You
open
know,
that now.
she fell through the space. Ugh.
The worst part of her run, even besides the Timeless Children, of course, is when she says, "I've had an upgrade." When someone assumes that the Doctor's a man, he's like, "Oh, I thought the Doctor was a man," and she goes, "I've had an upgrade."
Oh, that's when they went in there and
That sounds
I
awful.
thought they were gonna make him Grant the
Mm-hmm.
I
All right,
thought-
so yeah, this video has 27 views and 3 likes. So if anyone's out there and wants to check this out, this is fucking phenomenal. So yeah, it's how Doctor Who
You
should have
need to
ended.
ship me the
without
link,
Dirty
and
Wing.
I'm gonna post this on Twitter. Put it on Twitter.
I'll post it after this. I have really bad internet, so I'm gonna turn. Oh, I can turn it up a tad. Let's put it at 480p.
I can run it if you
HD.
want. If you put it in
All
a
right.
private chat, I can run it. I have good internet.
Yeah.
Let's see how well this goes. If it doesn't work, I'll send it to you.
I have like
All right.
top dog internet in Arizona, man.
I upgraded my internet when I started YouTube, and nothing changed.
Biggles
It's like
has-
double
has-
the price, and nothing changed.
Biggles has
All right.
internet like me, so.
So yeah, Biggles. This you probably haven't seen it yet. Actually, you would have seen a Christmas episode by now. So are
I
you
did.
watching on H?
It was very fun.
So yeah, HBO Max puts them in the season, but they're technically separate from the season. So it's been a classic thing. You have a season and then a Christmas special. And so it's become cliche or customary at this point for the Doctor to regenerate in a Christmas special. So this is the Christmas special, the last one of Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor, and this is a re-edit of his death.
I was tearing up. I was in charge of the show. Fuck him. Like, seriously.
They 100% did. Did you guys see the TV show, at least the clip of him like swearing at a motherfucker? in a TV show? It was so good. He's like, I got to bring that up. He was.
That was like such a huge thing with my friends in high school because that was when he was becoming the Doctor, and so that was his new thing where it's going to be Geronimo and Onzi and fuckity bye. It was great.
It was great. But yeah, that show he was in where he's swearing his ass off, he says like fuck like 5 times in a sentence, and his coworker's like, hey, you can't say that. It's like, fine, F star cunt. He's just a really great actor, and he was great in the Suicide Squad. I know you didn't like it, Biggles, but he was one of my favorite.
He was in the Suicide Squad? Who was he?
Yeah, he was.
He was the Thinker. This guy's the Thinker with the spikes in his head.
I don't remember that character.
It kind of looked like a little Dalek, to be honest.
Biggles doesn't remember that movie.
Did he die instantly? Yeah, I hated it so much I don't remember anything.
He got torn apart when Star was first seen, when the starfish first showed up. He's the one who got like spread eagled in the air and got torn apart.
Oh, okay.
Right before what's his bucket? The Colonel died. But yeah, let's keep going.
No one would understand it anyway.
You've got to that point yet where they're talking about his name a lot, right, Biggles? Like, what is the Doctor's real name? They talk about that a lot.
I don't know. They keep asking, what's his name? And he's like,
yeah,
doesn't matter. I'm the Doctor. Yeah.
So, yeah, during the Matt Smith run, that was a key feature of it was what is his real name? And so he's talking about it right now. He's like, don't tell anyone. So right now his monologue is talking to the next Doctor, the Doctor that comes after him, and giving him like some guidelines. And so it's like, all right, next Doctor, you got to never be cruel, never be cowardly, and make sure you don't tell anyone your name. No one will understand it anyway. So, despite the problems of the Stephen Moffat era, this scene is a perfect example of the heart of the show, is this mystical figure who doesn't think he's of any value. And that's what makes this show the best TV show that's ever been made, is scenes like this where he's just like, don't tell anyone your name, but children, when their hearts are right and the stars are in the right place. It just shows a soul behind it that a lot of writing can't get. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Or go black.
I know that's a time vortex from Jodie Whittaker's era, but it's enough that I don't care. It's little enough.
Coming back for like an episode or something.
Oh, no. That was his. He did this a lot in Classic Who.
Yeah, he did.
So it was just a reference to his old character.
I was always assuming, you're coming back, huh?
So, like a Matt Smith adjusting his bow tie.
Yeah.
That was this Doctor.
Yeah, it was just one of his
His other thing is he always had jelly babies. So I don't know if you remember in Peter Capaldi's era when he's like, would you like a jelly baby? That was a reference to this guy.
Yeah.
Because he took some of his character from Tom, too. He took it from Tom and David and a couple of the classic ones. Yeah.
Peter was one of the best actors to ever play.
Yeah, and I would say this. Peter was, if he was this generation's Tom Baker, this new Who's Tom Baker, not old Who.
Right.
He was, and I said this. That's as close as you ever get to Tom Baker was with Capaldi.
Absolutely.
Because Tom is the top of the thing. So I was pissed because they screwed him over.
I'd agree. It's been like 2 years since I watched Classic Who, so it might be time to revisit that for me. But no, Peter Capaldi is just an incredible actor.
Yeah, and I was so happy when he became the Doctor, and then they screwed him over.
Besides David Tennant, he was one of the biggest fans who was fans prior to taking the role.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Smith had never seen an episode prior. But that's the difference between Matt Smith and Jodie Whittaker is Matt Smith's like, oh my God, I'm going to be a part of this incredible show that millions of people watch, and it's part of the culture of Britain, and it's been going for 50 years. I'm going to watch every single fucking episodes and understand the show as best I can in the short time before I take on the role. Jodie Whittaker's like, oh, fuck it. I'm never going to watch a single episode. This is just a practice in the male gaze. Fuck the fans. And that's the difference between Matt Smith, who became one of the favorite doctors, one of the most beloved doctors, and Jodie Whittaker. It's totally fine to not know anything about the show, but come into it. And that's the argument against gatekeeping, is everyone's like, oh, you're gatekeeping because you want the show to appear in a certain manner. It's like, no, we want new fans. We want people to come in and love the show as much as we do. But you got to put in the work. You got to come to love the show as much as we do. And Matt Smith and Jodie Whittaker are perfect comparisons of one who does it right and one who just says, fuck the fans.
Have you guys ever read Ready Player 2? I know,
No.
like
I've seen the movie. Ready Player One.
That's Ready Player 1. Ready Player 2 is a sequel. Guess who's the best doctor in Ready Player 2?
I don't know.
Jodie Whittaker. He
Fuck
says
her in the ass.
He says the writer. So the writer is basically, it's like written in first person from the name of. I don't even remember the main character's name anymore. That's how much I hated Ready Player 2 that I forgot all about Ready Player 1. Fuck, I don't even remember his name
that's
anymore.
the link to it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm emailing it to myself, so I'll watch it later.
I'm putting it in
because
my
the rest of the scene is just the curator scene. There's nothing else in there.
But in the book, he's like, it's already known that Jodie Whittaker as the best doctor that the world has ever seen, right? And it's like it's something written like that in the thing, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I was like, I know I haven't watched any Doctor Who, and everyone I know that is obsessed with it hates her.
Oh,
so
for real.
And it's just the second one just goes on to show how shitty of a person the person actually was in the first one, but because he was fighting the big bads. But he writes it as if he's like still the hero. And it's like he's just a piece of shit. So I hated the second one, but I loved the first book. But.
The first one was, they're gonna fuck up that second movie anyway. So.
Yeah. Are they making a second movie?
Yeah, they are.
Good, I liked it.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like that shitty,
The book was shitty, so the movie's gonna be.
The first the first movie is nothing like the book.
They focus too much on The Shining.
The Shining's not even in it.
Uh-huh.
No, but everything in the first movie is not in the second movie. The only thing that's in there is Sam gets arrested and no, it's not Sam who gets arrested. It's the main character gets arrested. Why? I don't know why I can't remember his name. I've read the first book like 10 times.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the main character's name.
Before we get too distracted, I remember I talked to this about with Blabbering, but I wanted to let the other two of you guys know is I plan on doing a 11-year anniversary of the 11th hour. I think it's April 11th. So a Doctor Who stream completely about Doctor Who, about the 11th hour. So I want to make sure you guys know about that because
I gotta rewatch all my Doctor Who. Get ready for trivia.
Of just that episode, because I'll watch that episode more than once.
Yeah.
I like that episode.
That episode is so fucking good. As someone who, one of my top shows is also Sherlock by the same guy, Stephen Moffat. That episode is the most like Sherlock. So
great music, great acting.
Oh God! And
did you know that the chick who plays young Amy is actually Karen Gillan's cousin in real life? I thought that was mind blowing. Didn't even know each other.
That. Yeah, they didn't know that until they started filming. But even though the Atraxi aren't great villains, I'll admit that the giant eyeball creatures, they're not great villains. But that's not the point of the episode. It's a regeneration episode, so it's about introducing these characters for the next season. So the villain wasn't a priority.
When he walks through all of his previous regenerations, it's like, that's
was like David Tennant's face, and then Matt Smith comes through it. That was
what my favorite episode is?
So far, yeah.
When the TARDIS becomes a person.
I love that.
I love that.
And,
the doctor's wife.
And the doctor's like, what do I call you? And she's like, sexy. And she's like, well, not when we're in public. And she's like, we're not in public. And he's like, I do call you sexy. I'm just like,
that is perfect. As someone who, like the car guy mentality is 100% true. That's the relationship they had. So I know a lot of car guys who would 100% call their car sexy, and that's kind of the relationship they had for a while. But
it was
also
a sad episode.
I call my computer sexy. Hi, sexy.
Exactly. That's what. Yeah, I constantly talk to my computer like that. But that episode is actually written by Neil Gaiman. I know he's kind of controversial the last few years.
Oh, that's the guy who wrote the Sandman of yeah. He's
so
pretty cool, I like him.
He's done a lot of great work, but the last few years he said some dumb shit. But that episode is his one Doctor Who episode, and it's fucking phenomenal. And that's actually something that's really missing from the Jodie Whittaker era beyond the other problems, is the TARDIS isn't a character in the show like it was during the David Tennant and Matt Smith runs. It is a vehicle to get from point A to point B. During the David Tennant and Matt Smith era, especially during all the other eras, of course, as well. But it's a character that the Doctor interacts with. She has a soul. Even though she never speaks, you understand her whirls and her little noises she makes. She is a character.
Oh, that doesn't happen in the new one?
No. They barely spend any time in her. It's literally the beginning of the episode. They walk out of it. And it's we're in this random place. And they actually talked about, one of the producers talked about it back in 2018 when season 11 was first coming out, is they wanted to get away from the police box that it was. There was even rumors that they were going to change the exterior design.
What else?
During BLM, especially when BLM was really going crazy during the Summer of Love, they're like, yeah, we're going to change the design of the TARDIS to get away from this comparison. It's like, it's classic. I know you might not agree with police, but it's been this way for 60 years. Shut the fuck up. People love
Yeah, and it's not even like used as a police box anymore, so it's like a ship.
So, I used to watch How I Met Your Mother all the time.
Oh, that's a great show.
And they have a TARDIS in there, and I never knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel so much more enlightened now?
Now I know they had a TARDIS in there. I never thought they were Doctor Who fans.
Oh, I know you're more of a gamer, Biggles. Have you played Skyrim?
Yeah, I don't play it a lot. I've played maybe like 5 hours, 6 hours of it. I never beat the game. I was only playing
over
someone
100
else's.
hours of that
Okay.
game.
I found a baked potato once. That was it. That's all I did.
I do like that game. I don't love it, but I actually found out something recently, and I talked to Blabbering about this on the Harry Potter stream, is there's a mod for Skyrim where you can fly a fully functional TARDIS around Skyrim. Like, you have to move the controls, put up the wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey device, and, you got to mess with all the controls to move it anywhere in Skyrim. Like, it's got a great database of teleportation in it, and there's rooms in it, there's missions with it. This TARDIS mod is fucking
Can you share it just so I can hear a little giggle again?
I will, just for you. So yeah, I put a YouTube short out about me playing this mod, and I sent it to her, and it's pretty funny.
I have all the dirty shit in Skyrim, so
I have plenty of mods like that too. There's even a point in this mod where I show some of my dirty mods.
Get this. I made Mara Jade with boob armor and everything, and she has her lightsaber and everything else.
That's badass.
I was like, I'm gonna make hot Mara Jade, okay? Like, she gonna go through Skyrim with boob armor / her lightsaber, fucking guys up.
So yeah, I sent this video to Blabbering last week, and yeah, this is something I posted a while back, but it's pretty great.
A fully flyable motherfucking TARDIS. Let's see if we moved. Nope, you don't use it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you have that too?
Oh, you covered it up.
The cackle.
Dude, that mod was badass, and I had a sonic screwdriver, too, that would make pickpocket or locking picks.
Pickpocketing.
Lock picking, so much easier because you just use the sonic and unlock anything. It was pretty great. That mod is fucking fantastic.
My Little Pony actually has a Doctor Who episode.
Fucking hell! I might actually be a brony now.
So there's it's like the 100th episode, and it's a slice of life, and all the fans are like, "Oh, this is the Doctor! It's the Doctor!" Right? Because he's got a little. It's like so they have like cutie marks on their side or whatever, and that says what they're good at. And this one is like a Time Lord. It's like it's got the hourglass, right? And then it's got like it's the thing for a Time Lord, so it's Doctor Who, and all the fans are like, "This is the Doctor," and the 100th episode is called Slice of Life, and it's all about the background ponies. And it's about he's Doctor Who. That pony is like the main character in that one. It's Doctor Who.
That's funny.
There's a YouTube series based on that character made by, I forgot what the name of the person was, but it's like 4 or 5 episodes, and it's all about like the Doctor version of the My Little Pony character who's based off Doctor Who.
I might actually watch My Little Pony now.
Whatever, man. Like, but
bearded man, pony.
Yeah, well, you got to watch the Doctor, man. Like, even if it's only that one episode, but
no, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, but I think you only need like 10 minutes of the Doctor out of that. Out of the 26 episodes, you get like, or 26 minutes, you get like 10 minutes of the Doctor.
Well, I know after you're done with this section of Doctor Who, Biggles, I think a spin-off show you might actually like more because you like a lot of mature storytelling, right? Like Game of Thrones.
It depends. I didn't like Game of Thrones, but yes, I
like
boobs.
Okay.
As a man, I like boobs.
Wait, no. Game of Thrones started getting shit after 6. So
well, of course, obviously. But there's a spin-off show from Doctor Who called Torchwood, and it has its ups and downs, but I overall really enjoy Torchwood.
I wish
I've never
Torchwood
seen
would have
all
came
of it.
back.
It's really good.
You call yourself a Doctor Who fan.
No, I think Jed may, smite me for saying this, but I think Torchwood is better than the Sarah Jane Adventures, which is the other spin-off show.
I agree with
that one's
that.
very childish.
It's better than Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh, thank you. No, like Sarah Jane Adventures is really good at what it's trying to be. It's very much a child show.
She only had a couple good episodes. Like
so, Biggles, just for your knowledge, about season 3 of New Who, 2 sets of characters broke off from the main show and made spin-offs. One was the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was very much made for little children, like really young children, but it's still in the Doctor Who universe. And that's based off Sarah Jane, that companion we were talking about, who was back in the 3rd Doctor and then the 4th Doctor. And then there was Torchwood, which was based around Captain Jack Harkness, who was still one of my favorite characters. And whenever anyone calls me sexist or homophobic or not liking the current era, I always say Captain Jack's one of my favorite because he's he's omnisexual, which means he fucks literally anything: aliens, humans, men, women.
So he's Deadpool.
He's Deadpool.
Yeah, he's basically Deadpool.
So omnisexual is basically the alien variant of pansexual, I guess. But he's a great.
I didn't even know there was a term for that. You learn something new every day.
Captain Jack will literally fuck anything. Like
it's just called being a man.
But that show is great, and it focuses more on the adult storytelling. And someone who writes more adult stories, mature stories, I really appreciated that side of the Doctor Who universe, where you could see like an alien whose entire existence was possessing people and then feeding off orgasmic energy. So this would possess someone, force her to have sex, and then feed off orgasmic energy. That would not be in the main Doctor Who show, but in Torchwood, totally fine. But they also have a female Cyberman, which doesn't make any sense. So there's that part of it too. So it's kind of Torchwood's very give and take. But Miracle Day is one of my favorite seasons. So the first 2 seasons were normal storytelling, like one-off episodes, different stories. But seasons 3 and 4 were very much, or was it 4 and 5? Were very much one story stretched across an entire season. And Miracle Day is an incredible story where Captain Jack, he becomes immortal at a certain point. So it's actually reversed. So all humanity is immortal, and he's the one mortal person. And it's not that they heal. So, like, if you got shot in the head, you'd still be alive, but you'd be experiencing the pain of being shot in the head for the rest of eternity type shit. So it's contemplating like this idea, and like the government starts like burning these people who can't move, but they're still alive. So you're literally sentient ash, just screaming in agony as ash after being burned alive. And it's all about Captain Jack trying to figure out what's causing this reversed mortality in the in the world, and trying to get people to die again. And it's kind of a cool idea. It's like death is an important part of humanity, and Torchwood was able to explore that idea in a way that Doctor Who wasn't. So yeah, Miracle Day is an incredible season. I know, Jed, as a Doctor Who fan, you probably prefer Children of Men, don't you? That's more.
Yeah, I like both of them though. It doesn't bother me. It's like.
Yeah, I like Gary. He hates Miracle Day, but loves Children of Men. So
Children of Men. Yeah, I love both of them.
I'm trying to figure out, now that you said there's spin-offs of Doctor Who, of which alien race I would want to get a spin-off of. I mean, you know what? It might be from the Christmas episode where there were like these fish in the sky.
Oh, that is a great episode.
I would want the ones with the fish in the sky, because that shark, he's like, it's trying to find the other half, and he's like using the screwdriver to get the shark to come in.
That's one of the few Doctor Who episodes that I actually feel like crying at the end of that, and Vincent and the Doctor, which you've already seen, right? The Vincent Van Gogh one.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I like that one.
I know you guys can't see it, but right there's a sunflower, and right there's a Van Gogh picture.
I see the Van Gogh picture right there.
Yeah,
I see both of them.
Yeah, so in Phoenix, where I live, they had a Van Gogh exhibit, and it was all about like
I
his
want to go see that.
So it was like interactive and like a cool visual effects type deal to make the room around you look like his painting. So you were like standing in the world of his painting. It was shit. It was terrible. But
really?
It was awful. I'm talking like you sat on the floor and they just had a projector that put his pictures on the wall.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna go see.
It was terrible. But
Arizona has shitty art.
For military discount, you got a VIP pass, so you got the poster and the flower for free. And I only went because I knew it from Doctor Who, and that was one of the best episodes. But that scene with him at the very end with Vincent in the museum talking to that one guy who was a Vincent fan, I feel like crying every time I watch that. That's just an incredible scene. It's like
it was really good.
Yeah, it was.
And that's the best way to show historical figures. Like Assassin's Creed, as much as I love it, they're like throwaway. There's like, hey, we have Dickens in our movie or in our game.
Yeah, okay. And then they fuck it up, and
then they ignore him in the entire. It's just like, hey, we've got him. Okay, do something with him. Doctor Who, at least at that era, was like, we're gonna show these characters from history, and we're gonna fucking do something with them. And that episode is the perfect example of it, because it shows him as such a flawed person, but in a way that everyone can relate to and understand. And that's character writing at its best. So yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes across new and old Who is Vincent and the Doctor. It's just so well done in the way that you see his world and his warped perception of reality from his depressed lens.
I relate a lot with him, except from a non-depressed. Like he's always seeing things. You don't see that? No, not for you.
No,
crazy, right? Not you? Okay.
No, I get it. He's always hallucinating. Yeah. But yeah, that's why
schizophrenia kicking in.
That and the 11th Hour is why the 5th season is my favorite across new and old Who alike. Is just that era. Matt Smith and Amy mostly alone is just fucking incredible. And then that finale with the last Centurion, when you find out that Rory was babysitting Amy for 2,000 years, you're like, that is a boyfriend. That is a man.
Marry that guy.
That's the first moment that you really understand why Amy chooses Rory over the Doctor. Before that, you're like, fucking hell, he travels through the universe. He's hot. He's weird. He's universe hopping. But then you see Rory's willing to do this for her. It's like, I get it now. I get why she makes that decision now.
Well,
then he's all like, where's my wife in season 6? And you're like, wow.
She was always trying to get the Doctor, and the Doctor was like, no, what about Rory? What about Rory? So that's another reason why she didn't choose the Doctor. The Doctor was like, no, bad.
Right. That does
bad miss pond.
And that moment in the finale of season 5 when she's like, "You are late for my wedding," just like, this is why
Yeah, she
she's a
climbs on the
companion.
table and everything.
That's why she's a companion. The Doctor always chooses the best of humanity, and that's a perfect example of it. During that era, the Doctor needed imagination, not intelligence, and Amy shows that imagination better than nearly any other companion. Sure, what's her bucket? Martha is incredibly intelligent, but she doesn't have the imagination of Amy, and it's just what the Doctor needs at certain times. The Doctor doesn't always need an Amy. He doesn't always need a Martha. It's whatever mental state he's in chooses the companion.
Yeah, he needs like Donna when he actually needs a friend.
Exactly. Oh, I love that scene with Donna in the
I
Adipose
don't want
episode.
a mate.
I love that episode. The Adipose episode is so fucking funny. I know you
Oh,
haven't
they're
seen
so
it,
cute,
Biggles.
the little squishy things.
I'll
And then when
watch
they're
the
mouthing
other
each other at the
episode.
doors.
But that episode is just so funny. So yeah, Biggles. In the season prior to where you were at, the new companion is Donna. She's like 40, 50 years old. Like, she's a lot older than most companions.
She's not 50. I'd say she's
All right.
40.
All right, she's older.
You
but
ageist.
But she's not attractive like most of the per se, as most of the companions had been prior. So it was really different for New Who to have a non-attractive companion, and she was just there to be a friend of the Doctor and to be like comic relief. She was so fucking funny. Like when she first asked to join the TARDIS, she's like, "I'd like to travel the world with you." He's like, "I'm not looking for romance like the last few times. I'm looking for a mate." And she freaks out. She's like, "Well, you're not mating with me, sunshine." Like, I'm looking for a mate, like a friend, not a
friend.
That was a pretty funny interaction. But yeah, Donna was fucking incredible, especially with her Pompeii episode at the very end.
Yeah.
I love those moral quandaries that Doctor Who can ask.
And then Amy was actually there too.
Yeah.
In Pompeii.
Yeah, the actress. And Peter Capaldi was in that episode as well.
Yeah, right? It was just everyone is in that one.
So yeah, Biggles, that episode was about so Pompeii. You know what Pompeii is, right, from history?
Yeah, the Mount Vesuvius.
Right, exactly. So the Doctor and Donna happen upon Pompeii, and they're like, "Oh shit, the volcano is about to erupt. We have to get out of here. We don't want to get caught." And then through their shenanigans, they find out that the volcano isn't going to erupt, and they find out that they're the ones who set off the volcano. They have to either stop world domination from this alien race or set off this volcano to kill the aliens, but also kill Pompeii. So it's this moral quandary of, do we kill this entire town and bury it for millennia, or do we let all of humanity die? And so it's like the Doctor and Donna both holding hands on the switches that will set off the volcano. They're both holding onto the switch that'll set off the volcano. And they're like, do we have the moral right to do this? And that's one of the most powerful scenes in Doctor Who, because as a time travel, you have that moral obligation and that conflict, at least, to have those sorts of discussions that you don't really get to have in other shows. And that's why I value Doctor Who above a lot of these other shows.
All right, so here's my thought on that, right? As a time traveler, I already know it goes off. But if it finds out that I'm the one who did it to stop a thing, I'd be like, whatever, boom, pull that thing, and just watch it go, boom, and kill all the aliens. Be like,
well, the Doctor does talk about history is history can fluctuate, so he'd be changing all of history by saying no. But
yeah,
it'd be difficult.
But you got to do it. You just got to be like, I can see all these people. They're still in ash today. You can still go to Pompeii and see that they're still in ash, right? They're still covered in ash. There's still ash people there. So, boom, pull it. Kill the aliens. Save the world. Sacrifice an ancient civilization.
Yeah, fuck Rome. We don't care about Romans. But actually, Blabbering Collector, you got to bounce, right? It's a little bit later.
I love this, though. This was actually really, really fun. I really enjoyed this a lot. So can I come back next time?
Absolutely. We got to change the name. The name was only temporary, and then we just didn't come up with anything better. But we got to come up with something better than Sons of the Phoenix, and we might make you a regular.
How about this?
I can still be a son. It's fine. I'll be one of the boys.
Rise from the Phoenix. How about that?
Or just Phoenix?
No. Just Phoenix sounds lame. What are we, the bird
Fox,
from
it'll be fine.
Yeah, that
Fox,
guy.
yeah. What is the Chamber of Secrets? Everyone will get that we're talking about a phoenix.
Yeah, no.
I said the bird of Dumbledore.
The red bird.
The bird of Dumbledore.
Red Robin.
I didn't remember his name.
Red Robin.
Yeah.
It's
Not
disgusting
sponsored.
though.
I don't know if
But
you ever
yeah.
had it.
No, it's not great. But yeah, it was great to have you, Blabbering. We got to make you a
Thank
regular.
you.
And if you guys haven't checked it out, her Harry Potter stream and I from last week actually was really great. So you should all definitely check that out.
I showed off a bunch of stuff. I was like, here, look at this, and look at that, and look at that, and look at that.
She's one of the
Little
biggest Harry
nerd.
Potter nerds I've ever met. Blabbering Collector isn't just like me, where it's just a hyperbole name. Like Hollywood Scholar is hyperbole for me. Blabbering Collector, she is literally talking about her collection all the time.
I have
and
a
it's fucking
spreadsheet.
Great. I love it. Yeah.
I have spreadsheets for video games, but that's because I'm like, what's going to get me the best stats to where I can kill these people faster?
All right. Well, yeah, we definitely got to have you back, Blabbering.
Thanks.
I
All
gotta
right,
start calling
guys,
you
have a
Collector
wonderful
instead.
evening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
It was nice
Bye.
meeting you. I'll try.
Yeah, it was
to
nice
do
meeting you
another
guys. See you
article.
next time.
Yeah. Yeah, she's part of the Geeks and Gamers website writing team with me, so that's how I met her.
Oh, that's
and,
awesome, man.
Yeah, and she did an article about her collection, and so I found out she was a big Harry Potter nerd. So I'm like, you know what? I've been feeling about doing a 20th anniversary stream. So last week I set that up with her, and that stream did really well. So thought, why not bring her on this one with all the other Geeks and Gamers crew that we got?
I am very not good at anything Harry Potter. I got the first 2 books read to me when I was little. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I kept I saw the movies and I was like, I don't like this. And I never watched all the movies. Yeah. Well,
No, not you. Of the 11 subscribers I just gained, YouTube took away 6 of them.
Oh, welcome
Yay,
to YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Welcome to YouTube.
Mhm.
God, that sucked. Jesus Christ, I was so happy. I was like, I'm almost to 100.
Once you get to 100, you can put your personal link.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Wait, what do you do at 100?
You can customize your link.
I already-
Right now my channel is like Z84YG.
Yeah, I have
whatever.
ours.
Oh,
I
sweet.
have ours. I have
But
ours
yours
set.
is like Workman Biggles. Like, yeah, you
No,
get a
no.
setback.
Mine is Biggles Mets.
Is
So
it?
like this one right here is my original YouTube, but my actual content one that has like how many has 124 subscribers is just Biggles Mets.
Yeah, so yeah, I get to set that at 100. So I was hoping I'd get close, but I just took away a bunch of the ones I'd gained. But you finally beat whatchamacallit, Attack on Titan, or stop playing it. I mean, I know you beat it like twice, but
Okay, listen. I didn't stop playing it. I'm just playing a lot of Lost Ark because it's new and I got to play it. But I do switch over to Attack on Titan and I still play it every Thursday. And I still love it so much. And I'm addicted. It's great. Attack on
That's
Titan 2 is a fucking great video game.
that's like me with the Assassin's Creed games. No matter what new game I play, I always go back to an Assassin's Creed game once I'm done. Right now, I'm playing Cyberpunk again with all the new content, but I'm modding the shit out of it. I mod way too much. I love modding. It's so much fun.
It makes games more fun too.
It really does.
All right, so that Moon Knight trailer looked pretty cool. I'm not going to watch it. I kind of want to watch it only because of Oscar Isaac, and he looked pretty awesome in the trailer. But I feel like it's just going to be bad. Other than
oh, it is going to be bad. Yeah.
So like other than him, I think that it's going to be bad.
You know, even the press releases about it, like Kevin Feige said, they weren't holding back. That doesn't entice me at all. Like I like the trailers, just like what you're talking about, and I think Oscar Isaac is a great actor. But at this point, I don't trust Marvel at all.
Yeah, and then Doctor Strange. Let's see, we'll go to Doctor Strange after that one. Okay, Doctor Strange. I feel like it's just cameos. All it is going to be cameos.
Well, They did reshoots after Spider-Man's success, so I feel like that's when they added all the cameos because that's what they took away from the cameo of the Spider-Man success.
Yay! Why can't it just be a Doctor Strange movie? Why does it have to have all these characters? Like, just give me the character. I don't need Wanda bitching that he messes with reality, and she's like, "When you did it, when I do it, I'm a villain." Well, you know what? You enslaved a whole bunch of fucking people.
Yeah, it's not comparable. You know, saving reality, fighting Dormammu, or enslaving people to get your sex toy back. I don't think those are exactly comparable.
He sends them to an alternate reality. They're fighting in a mirror world or whatever based on the movies. Like
he tries.
What? He's not fighting them in the real world. He's not altering reality so he can enslave all these people just so she can be happy. Like what the you did it for all selfish reasons. You didn't do it for like the same reason he did it. That's why you're and then American Chavez. Why the fuck is she in this movie? No one gives a shit about that character. No one
just want to show the lesbian couple that made a baby. That's the whole reason she's there.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Just give me a whole movie of just the camera on Rachel McAdams' face, and it will be my favorite movie that Marvel's ever made.
See, you got to go a little south to keep my attention. Rachel McAdams.
Right, the downward angle then, right there, and it's just this part of her.
Right.
Happy? We'll make a deal.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make a deal just right here. That's
you guys see
no Doctor Strange or anything, just her.
Did you see her movie with Rachel Weisz, Unforgiven? I think it was what it was called.
I have not.
I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen these clips that I'm about to talk about. It's about this Rachel McAdams is a Jewish lady who in high school fell in love with a woman. The woman left, and that's Rachel Weisz. And then she comes back during the events of the films. And there's a lot of steamy lesbian sex between them that they don't fake. Like it's Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams just going at it for 2 hours, and it's fucking great.
Okay. Okay then. That's good to know.
There's some weird shit in it too. Like it's not normal sex too. Like there's one shot of Rachel Weisz just laying on top of Rachel McAdams and just like spitting in her mouth for 10 minutes.
That's gross.
That's kind of hot.
And that's weird.
That's gross. That's
spitting in her mouth for like 10 minutes. That's kind of hot.
It may not have been that long, but yeah, there was a shot of her just like drooling in her mouth, and she's just like all grinning while she's doing it. I'm just like,
that's disgusting.
I'm good.
I don't want to see this movie now.
Go back to fucking.
I don't want to see this movie now.
The rest of it is great. The sex scenes are great. Besides that part is just like, you know what? I'm gonna close down the hub for a few seconds and come back.
Turn down the hub. Jeez. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm getting tired, and I think I'm getting that text message.
Well,
your booty comment.
Well, yeah, we've been going for almost 3 hours. It's almost 8 here, so I'm getting ready to shut things down too.
Sweet.
You got any last thoughts on all those trailers I made you watch that we didn't talk about?
Last Moon Knight looks good. Probably not going to watch it. Doctor Strange looks stupid. I'm not going to watch it. Jurassic Park looks stupid, but I'm going to watch it. What was the other one? Lord of the Rings looks stupid. Not going to watch it. It's not Lord of the Rings. Might as well just be a D&D movie. And that's it on all the trailers.
That's pretty much my own feelings. That encapsulates it. But I'm going to watch them all for content on my channel. But otherwise, I wouldn't be watching them either, just like you.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to add, Jed?
No, not really, bro. I'm pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Then I think I'm going to wind things down. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next video. Anon.
Bye, everybody.
If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.